Thank you, Adam. I love working with you.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, February 12th, 2023. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1529.
This is No Agenda.
Opening Project Bluebeam and broadcasting live from the heart of the Texas Hill Country here in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're opening Project Bullcrap, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
It's the same book, it's just a different cover. There's no difference between the two.
It's actually the playbook for the Super Bowl.
Bullcrap? Oh, let's do that right away. Before we do anything, let's just do our prediction for the Super Bowl. We do it every single year. You do it based on sports analysis. I do it based on geopolitical feelings.
Jeez.
What do you say?
Well, on sports analysis, everybody's predicting the Eagles. But I'm going to, because they've never been in, this team, I mean, the Eagles have been in Super Bowls, but this team is rank amateurs, and one of them's the quarterback in particular. I think they're going to be nervous enough they're going to end up losing the game, and I'm going to give it to the Kansas City team.
Wow. Okay. Well, you know, I was already all in on the city of brotherly love, so it's got to be the Eagles, and I'm going to give you a score, too. I'm going to give you a score.
Is it going to be the same score that was in the newsletter?
No, I don't think so. My score is Eagles 38, Chiefs 17. Why would you laugh at that?
It's so silly.
Okay, alrighty then.
You're giving a score. You don't even like football.
I love football. I love the Super Bowl. It's going to be a great Super Bowl.
It's on right after the show, and I wonder how many people are listening to all the bull crap that's going on before the game. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And then they're showing pictures, and they're showing the free stuff you can do at the Super Bowl if you were there. You're not there.
So I think Fox has the rights to this year's Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. Fox?
Yes, which means it's going to be broadcast in 4K.
And, oh, really?
Yep.
I didn't know that ABC or whenever they have it, they don't broadcast it in 4K?
Nobody broadcasts in 4K except that I know. I think NBC does a few broadcasts in 4K, and Fox does a lot of broadcasts in 4K. But people like to condemn it because it's faux K.
Faux K? Oh, it's not real K. It's faux K.
Well, what they do is they broadcast in high definition, and then they convert, and then send it out in 4K, but it's not true 4K.
Oh. Wow,
so
how lame is that? How lame is that?
It looks good, though. But the thing that is different is that it comes over in HDR, and that really brightens up the picture and helps a lot.
Now,
if you have a set that can do it.
The tradition is the network that is broadcasting the Super Bowl game also has a sit-down interview with the president. Is this happening? Is this happening this year?
No.
Again? It's
no,
not
they
happening?
refuse. Bush. Bush. Well, I'm a little bit behind the times.
Yeah, just a bit.
Biden says no.
What? That's a lame. Lame. No, there's a lot going on. I understand. Before we get to Operation Bluebeam Bull Crap, did you see the note from Sir Daniels?
No.
Came in late. Sir Daniels, this is a knight of the No Agenda Roundtable. He recently took a position at Project Veritas, and he has an update based upon our broadcast from Thursday. And he says he was able to finish the last episode, and he calls bullcrap on everything we said. So I want to read it.
What did we say?
Well, remember, we found out that there's this whole fracas going on that did they kick out James O'Keefe? He's on a week leave. Turns out there's a 501c3 and a 501c4, and I personally questioned, what was going on. Was this did Pfizer take issue with one of their... Why
do I get mentioned in this condemnation then? Go on.
Okay, Kara. Don't do that. Don't. You can say anything you want.
Go on.
But don't
go on.
Don't do the
no,
go on
part.
Kara.
It's Kara.
Yes, Kara.
Sorry.
He sent it to me, so you were copied on it, but you didn't get condemned in this.
I don't. I'm doing work in the morning. Looking at emails like it's too late. You should have sent me last night.
Sir Daniels from Veritas, boots on the ground. He says, I promise you your assessment on the 501c3 versus 501c4 is very much wrong. We don't lobby at all. Okay, so strike.
Well, then what? Okay, wait, stop.
He's going to explain it. You'd like to know why?
Well, first the question that comes immediately to mind is then why do you have that designator, which is specifically for lobbying operations?
Here it is. We, out of abundance of caution, always put out stories that involve elections or candidates under our 501c4 entity. Lawyers have suggested this setup because when we show a political candidate in a negative light, it can be interpreted as an endorsement for their opposition. We do not. So, okay, I stand corrected on that. We do not endorse or advocate for anything. We just report on what people say in private that contradicts what they say in public. You also honeypot gay guys, with no mention of that. This setup was deemed to protect our 501c3 status. Makes total sense. In principle, we don't think we really even need the C4 at all, but use it out of an abundance of caution, as we state on our website. I'm sorry, I did not read that. By the way, it says I'm the executive director for both entities. And we're talking to the top here, John. We're no slouch.
We got the guy. Yeah, I think this. Yeah, no.
The board has not, capital NOT, ousted James. Everyone wants him at Project Veritas, and Pfizer is not putting any pressure on us. Well, that's 3 strikes. I can't really say much more than that at this point, as the situation is fluid, but more detail to come as I'm able to share. Sir Strack. Okay. Well,
that's the official word.
I'd say so. So, everyone
doesn't
can
explain anything, but it's okay.
You know what? It's more official word than I've heard any podcast or any Twitter person have. And we just throw it away at the beginning of the show. And we just throw it away at the beginning of the show.
It's a throwaway.
It's a toss away for us. It's a toss away. All right. Wow, what an exciting time to be a podcaster. Breaking news!
Breaking news tonight. A U.S. fighter jet shoots down yet another high-altitude flying object, this time over Canada, amid the growing mystery of what was shot down over Alaska on Friday. The U.S. military searching for remnants of what it took down, but they're facing nasty weather off Alaska. And new questions today. What was it and who sent it?
Breaking news! Breaking news!
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announcing a U.S. fighter jet took out an unidentified object over the Yukon, scrambling both Canadian and U.S. aircraft after coordinating with President Biden Saturday afternoon, just one day after another unidentified object was shot down over Alaskan waters. With recovery efforts underway in the Arctic and more questions than answers about who owned it, why it was there, and what capabilities it may have had.
We don't have any information that would confirm a stated purpose for this object.
President Biden ordered U.S. fighter jets to take it out with a missile just hours after learning about it.
Breaking! Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. I'm sure you have a couple of clips you want to share. I have all kinds of analysis.
A lot of clips, actually.
we need to help people with this one.
But I think that the real issue is the lies by omission.
Okay.
Which I have documented quite.
Excellent. Let's do it.
Quite nicely, including somebody who finally tells us what's what.
All right. I got now, just so you know, I have Aviation Week, which has some interesting, editors of Aviation Week from their podcast, interesting observations about the Chinese balloon, the OG balloon. I also have the Pentagon media briefing about the first UFO. So and then of course I have the typical mainstream bullcrap. So just letting you know.
Well, I've got some mainstream bullcrap, but then I go to the full press conference of the Canadian.
Yes, the defense minister,
and she won't say what it is, and then they make a mistake.
Okay.
And tell us what it is. But I'm still mystified by why they're trying to bull crap us with this, and they specifically say unidentified flying object a couple of times.
Oh, the Canadian said that?
And everybody says it.
Oh. By the way, I have the
You
answer.
had it in your clips you just played. One of the comments was UFO.
I have the answer for later, but let's get through all the clips first.
Well, Okay, well, let's go with just go to the you did ABC. Let's do NBC. This is NBC's overview.
Okay.
Tonight, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announcing a U.S. fighter jet took out an unidentified object over the Yukon, scrambling both Canadian and U.S. aircraft after coordinating with President Biden Saturday afternoon. Just one day after another unidentified object was shot down over Alaskan waters.
I think, by the way, this is the same report. I had NBC. I think this is the same report.
With recovery efforts underway in the Arctic and more questions than answers about who owned it, why it was there, and what capabilities it may have had.
This is the same exact. Is it the same clip exactly?
Well,
you had NBC.
You have more of it. That was the same beginning of my clip. So I'd say we play.
I thought it was ABC that you had.
No, it was the same.
Oh, if you had
open.
NBC, then let's go on. Let's get the hell with it. Let's get it so that this is international. Let's go to Al Jazeera. UFO Canada, AJ report.
Another unidentified object has been shot down over North American airspace, this time over northern Canada. Canadian and American forces were tracking the cylindrical object before a US F-22 aircraft shot it down over the Yukon. It comes a day after a flying object was shot down over Alaska in the US, and a week after a Chinese balloon was downed off the coast of North Carolina.
Okay, so this is interesting because they have as an object, and a balloon.
Yes.
So,
yes, correct.
So the defense lady goes on and on and on. She gives this explanation without saying much, and then somebody comes up with a very interesting question for her.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the UFO Canada defense lady, Hem and Haw.
This is Lee Berthiaume.
Minister David Coleman. Sorry, Lee, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, David. I wanted to ask this, maybe a silly question, but I think it's on, didn't think I'd ever ask this question. Is there any indication that this object is not terrestrial, is not from this world? Or is it too early to say anything on that front?
You're right, I have not had that question, Lee, so thank you for asking it. From all indications, this object is potentially similar to the one that was shot down off the coast of North Carolina, though smaller in size and cylindrical in nature. That is the information that we are working with right now, but with further analysis, we will know more and be able to provide you with more details.
So just to confirm, so it sounds like it potentially was another balloon. Is that what we're being led to believe here?
I will refer to the item as an object at this time. I am a person that depends on facts and will not provide opinions until I can ground them in some sort of fact. So I'm going to wait for the reports that I will be getting relating to the analysis of the debris.
Well, that's not exactly on message. It's supposed to be, a little more vague. You're kind of supposed to elude.
Well, this question kind of screwed her over. So meanwhile, she brings on this Canadian Air Force general whose last name I believe is Air, which is a fascinating name for an Air Force guy. And he seems to want to have nothing to do with any of whatever the charade is.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a rationale for why this is going on. And he just kind of blows the whole thing up, as it were. And this is the UFO Canada general spoiling everything.
A successful downing of this object that we had concern about. For more specifics, I will ask the Chief of Defense Staff, General Wayne Eyre, who's with me this evening, if he would like to add anything.
Is it named General Wing Eyre?
That was Wayne.
Oh, that would have been even better.
General Wayne Eyre, who's with me this evening, if he would like to add anything. General Eyre?
No, thanks, Minister. And David, to go to the specifics of your question, it was an AIM-9X missile from the F-22. Now, it's important to note that the instructions that were given to the team was whoever had the first best shot to take out the balloon had the go-ahead. It's also important to note that all the aircraft were under the direction of Canadian NORAD region. So a Canadian general in Winnipeg was overseeing this operation, albeit in a NORAD context.
that was funny, by the way. Just to kind of give you a little more Canadian flavor, I have about 37 seconds of President Trudeau announcing his order to shoot down.
Oh, yeah. I want you to play it, but first I have to say, after that clip, the woman came back on with the look of someone so irked. She came back on, and the look on her face was, look, I went through all this trouble of humiliating myself.
To not say balloon.
And then you come on and say balloon. She was steaming. Smoke was coming out of her ears.
Well, that's a good observation and a good point. So that shows that all intent here is to keep it mysterious and very UFO-like. For whatever reason.
I have a potential reason.
Yeah, we all have thoughts. But let's first listen to President Justin Trudeau, who does not look like Trudeau, by the way. He looks 15 or 20 years younger than I've seen him in a long time.
Botox?
His hair was definitely a little bit longer than I've seen it recently. Or maybe that's just, my imagination.
The body double?
I'm thinking something like it did not seem like him. It seemed like a much younger version.
Yesterday, NORAD confirmed that an unidentified object entered unlawfully Canadian airspace.
Okay, so now we're definitely not saying maybe a balloon here.
It represented a reasonable threat to civilian aircraft. So I gave the order to take it down.
Yeah, you ordered nothing, Justin.
Canadian and American fighter jets were scrambled. And an American F-22 successfully shot down the object. Recovery teams are on the ground.
Hold on. You can start it again, but now that you brought in this information that is something screwy about this guy, he sounds winded.
Yes, it doesn't sound the same. He doesn't look the same.
He doesn't quite sound the same. Normally he's kind of forceful and and he's got this kind of relaxed bullcrap tone.
Yeah.
That is hard to describe, but he doesn't sound like this. He's not. He sounds like he just got through a marathon.
Strangely enough, his teeth. I mean, I'm orally oriented these days because of my own issues. His teeth did not even look the same. Something about this clone is off.
Recovery teams are on the ground, looking to find and analyze the object. Yesterday afternoon, I also spoke with President Biden and confirmed together that we will continue to do everything necessary to protect the sovereignty of our shared North American airspace.
Now, notice he says of our shared North American airspace. So this is part of an overall just subtleness of North America. It's really United States, Canada, and Mexico.
But also to do everything necessary to keep our citizens safe.
All right. North American Union. I don't know. It felt off. I just wanted to mention it.
Well, it doesn't sound right now that you mention it.
Yeah. All right.
I didn't see this. Well, I probably did because they had it in bits and pieces all over the place. And this whole thing about keeping the balloon. Balloon. So it was the other one.
Can we go to the Pentagon briefing?
Yeah, I want to hear what. I had some of that in these NBC clips, but it's Kirby, right?
No. This is the Pentagon. This is the.
Okay.
This is a different guy. So and it's good audio, and it's a very different kind of briefing at the Pentagon. And the reporters were asking pretty good questions. This is from Friday, so this is after the first unidentified object.
When the pilots approached it, and they determined, I understand that it was not manned. How did they determine that? And at that point, wouldn't it be possible to at least describe what they were looking at? Did it resemble a balloon or an airplane or what?
Again, we'll know more and have more information once we've recovered this. I will give credit to our pilots that they're very capable in terms of looking at an object, assessing whether or not this had the potential to be manned at that altitude, something that small. Very, very unlikely that it was manned. And so, again, no indication that it was manned. Presented a potential reasonable threat to civilian air traffic, and we took it down.
What speed was it traveling at, by the way?
I don't have that information.
Okay, so
it was floating.
Let's make sure it's not a balloon.
I just had a couple clarifying questions. You said that that the pilots were able to see it, that it wasn't the same shape or size as the balloon. Can you say definitively it was not a balloon?
I don't, at this point, considering the fact that...
A little different than the Canadian counterpart, huh?
We're still assessing the object. I don't want to get into characterizing it, so just leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned you didn't know how fast it was traveling. Can you say if it was traveling faster or slower than the balloon?
I don't have that information in front of me, so I don't want to make it up.
He doesn't have it in front of him, but he knows.
Try a couple more. Did anyone try?
Wow.
I'd love to. I'll try a couple more. I love this.
Yeah, let's get back to this balloon thing.
Hold on, here we go.
More. Did anyone try to, within the administration, contact their Chinese counterparts before the decision was made to shoot it down?
In terms of when you say the administration, if you're referring to the White House, I'd have to refer you to them. The Department of Defense, to my knowledge, did not. Again, we don't know the point of origin of this object. Yeah.
And was there any effort to jam or somehow disable this object before, such that it would pose less of a threat?
I don't want to get into specific tactics or techniques that we may or may not use when observing these types of things. Again, NORAD sent up aircraft to observe, to see what it was, and then the ultimate decision was made based on the reasonable threat to civilian air traffic to take it down.
I just want to point out that is contrary to what the Trudeau clone said. He said, I gave the order, they scrambled the jets. Now they were already in the air. So they were assessing what it was. So he didn't give any order to shoot down. They didn't scramble anything. That's all hyperbole. So next question. They're still kind of on the balloons here. The reporters are having a hard time at the Pentagon.
You know, I like these reporters better than the ones that do the White House stuff.
Oh, much better. And the answers are more succinct and less filling.
I want to ask you about the overall program. You said you've been learning a lot about this balloon program over the last couple of years. Yet the annual China report doesn't have a peep about balloons in there. You spend a lot of money and effort, but no balloons. We learned about...
See, here's a reporter who has read something before he's asking a question. Go figure.
Taiwan and China's balance of power against them, and satellites and jets, but no balloons. Why not?
So Tony, what I would say on the...
Oh, notice that. So Tony, I know your name. So Tony, what I would say is you better watch out, mister.
On the unclassified China Power Report.
Oh, that was unclassified.
Right. There's going to be certain elements, intelligence aspects in the unclassified version that may not be included in that particular report.
Oh, great. Because balloons are so classified.
Oh, yeah. Balloons are so secrety.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Balloons. We can't talk. Tony, let me tell you there, Tony. That was the unclassified version, but, you never know what we had in the classified version.
The report. In terms of what's in that report and what's not in that report, again, we can go back and look at that, but I can assure you that there are a lot of activities that we continue to monitor to include this balloon program, and we've learned a lot over the last couple of years.
I think that the classified version has balloons in there.
I'd have to go back and look. I do not know the answer to that.
He just gave the answer. I have to go back and look at that. Okay. Will you circle back? Yeah, I'll circle back. So we know that this thing was cylindrical in shape. They classified it as about the size of a car, which makes you visualize, like I don't know, what should we say? Like a Bronco. You visualize a Bronco hanging from something. That's whatever but it was cylindrical. We heard that in the...
They never said it was hanging from anything. They just said it was
good
cylindrical.
Good point.
It was just a cylindrical object.
So let's see what
as though it was up there by itself.
Do you and Admiral Kirby know the shape of this new object? And if so, what is sort of the reason for why you can't share its shape before it was shot down?
Yeah, thank you. So in terms of the shape, I don't know. I have not seen any imagery of it. I'm just telling you the verbal characteristics as it was described to me.
It was probably a penis balloon. just floating around up there. But whatever you do, call it an object.
When NORAD sent the initial aircraft up to sea, was there any sort of hailing or any type of warning given? Typically, when an aircraft makes an incursion into protected airspace, there's a whole lot of procedures that have to be followed before it would escalate to something like this.
Okay, well, this was an object, right? So it wasn't an aircraft per se.
Oh, okay. Hey, it's an object, okay? So that was the Pentagon briefing. I love how CNN, Jim Acosta, who has his own show, what he launched into the ether was so much better than this.
Interesting. This is kind of unusual that these pilots saw different things, and that is sort of, I guess, adding to the mystery of all this.
Yeah, not even the pilots apparently were really able to identify what they saw. And just to take you back for a sec, on Thursday, the U.S. defense officials sent F-35 fighter jets up to try to figure out what this object was that was flying around near Alaska. Those pilots, we have learned, have given very conflicting accounts of what they actually experienced, with some pilots saying that the object interfered with the plane's sensors, other pilots saying that they didn't really experience that, other pilots saying that when they looked at the object, they could identify no identifiable propulsion system, and they did not know how it was actually staying in the air, cruising at that altitude of about 40,000 feet. So this is all added to the Pentagon's wariness of describing in more detail what this object actually is until they can get more information through the debris that they are recovering right now.
Yeah, no propulsion. It's a balloon, okay? It's a penis-shaped balloon.
It wasn't penis-shaped.
Cylindrical.
The cylindrical object was hanging from the balloon.
No, there's no mention of anything hanging from anything. You just said that yourself.
No, the point is that there was a balloon with something hanging from it, and that's what they're trying to describe. They shot the balloon, the thing comes down, and they're going to go pick it up. That's what happened. It was another Chinese balloon. They don't want to. The problem with the Chinese, they just want. For some reason, the public is not allowed to think anymore about the Chinese balloon because the Chinese are going to have a big meeting with Yellen, and they don't want anyone to interrupt it. This is bankers. They're going to get together, and they're going to divvy up the world, and they don't need any aggravation with some damn Chinese balloons anymore. The Chinese balloon thing is off the table. Don't talk about it. Make it sound like a flying saucer. Do anything.
This is your conclusion? This is what it's about?
Yeah.
Yellen? Is that our clip here? Yellen?
Yeah, here's Yellen. She said, this is not covered too much, but Yellen, the last time there was a Chinese balloon, they had to interrupt a meeting, and it was like, maybe it was important, maybe it wasn't. This meeting's important.
China says it welcomes U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's willingness for a visit. A spokesperson for the Commerce Ministry says it's important that the two countries maintain communication, noting that Chinese Vice Premier Liu He held constructive talks with Yellen at the Davos Forum in Switzerland last month. She added that China opposes the U.S. to impose unreasonable sanctions on Chinese companies in violation of market economy and international trade rules.
Well, that's interesting. So we both have a conclusion of what this is about that is ultimately based on finance, is what you're saying. This is something about the finance system.
Yeah,
finance. All right. Well, I love that we're coming at it from different angles. I have historical receipts to say that I believe you may be right. One of the most notorious economists in finance in the United States is, of course, Paul Krugman. Paul Krugman, a favorite, in fact, the favorite economist of the former New York banker. He always loves, Krugman is really he's a good economist. And I think we think he's a douche. And he's a doofus.
We think he's a spook, too.
Well, and he has everything wrong. He's wrong most of the time.
Yeah.
However, 10 years ago, as we were nearing the end of the Great Recession, he had a theory on how to fix everything, which, of course, kind of did happen, but not really in the way, they shoved everything under the rug. And now 10 years later, we know that why do we have all these horrible finance things happening is because they never cleaned up what they did in the 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12. And he took this theory not just everywhere. He used this, I've just got a minute of it. He used this theory on multiple shows, PBS, Bill Maher would be kind of a funny show, but he meant it. And this is him on Fareed Zakaria's show, the anti-constitutionalist douche who was also on CNN. But a serious program, so you don't make jokes on Zakaria's show. And this is what Paul Krugman's idea was, to save the finance system the first time it was in trouble.
Maybe Boston's big dig was just fine after all.
Think about World War II, right? That was actually negative for social product spending, and yet it brought us out. I mean, partly because you want to put these things together. If we say, look, we could use some inflation, Ken and I are both saying that, which is, of course, anathema to a lot of people in Washington, but is in fact what the basic logic says. It's very hard to get inflation in a depressed economy, but if you had a program of government spending plus an expansionary policy by the Fed, you could get that. So if you think about using all of these things together, you could accomplish, a great deal. I mean, if we discovered that space aliens were planning to attack, and we needed a massive buildup to counter the space alien threat, and really inflation and budget deficits took secondary place to that. This slump would be over in 18 months. And then if we discovered, whoops, we made a mistake, there aren't actually any space aliens.
So we need Orson Welles, is what you're saying.
No, there was a Twilight Zone episode like this in which scientists fake an alien threat in order to achieve world peace. Well, this time we don't need it. We need it in order to get some fiscal stimulus.
I'm all in on that. I mean, you have inflation, but maybe he wants more. I think this is the Krugman playbook.
Well, this idea about lying about some balloons and then trying to bring space aliens into the picture isn't going to work.
Well, no, it's not going to work.
I'm telling you, it's just what bothers me. Whether or not there's some screwball scheme afoot. What bugs me the most is that because anyone who heard the general from Canada say we shot down the balloon, blew up the whole the whole scam. But why do they continue with this? And then Acosta's clips, which really is very suspicious. What is the point of the news media going in this direction instead of trying to get to the bottom of it?
Because they're told to do this, obviously.
Well, the people obviously yes, but the news media that was covering the Pentagon, those clips were great because they were they probably knew. Yeah. I don't think any of them heard the general say it was a balloon because that was pretty obscure. No. But they'll find out about it. It's just that I don't understand what is the point of this kind of obfuscation because of a couple more balloons floating around.
Well, how about this?
That is going to screw up the meetings, or the public's going to get all pissed off at the Chinese, and you can't go meet with Yeltsin, or I don't know. It's bothersome to me that the media, and since I played the Al Jazeera clip, it goes international, is all in on this, and this is a disservice to the public.
What? The mainstream media is disserving the public?
What?
No. Let's listen.
Gambling?
Let's listen to the BBC.
The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said a United States military fighter jet acting on his orders has shot down a high-altitude airborne object over northwestern Canada. Here's our North America correspondent, Peter Bowes.
Notice how we get the Brits and they take our guys? It's amazing.
Justin Trudeau said he ordered the shooting down of an unidentified object that had violated Canadian airspace. In a tweet, he confirmed that Canadian and US aircraft were scrambled and that an F-22 fighter jet successfully fired at the object. Mr. Trudeau said he'd spoken with President Biden and that Canadian forces would now recover and analyse the wreckage. A military mission is also continuing on sea ice off the Alaskan town of Deadhorse to recover debris from the other unspecified airborne object shot down on Friday. In a statement, the US Northern Command said that operation was moving slowly due to freezing temperatures, snow and limited daylight. Officials said they still had no further information to offer about the purpose and origin of the object, which was earlier said to be about the size of a small car.
Peter Bowes with that report.
Now, just coming in, breaking from Bloomberg, China getting ready to take down an unidentified object flying over waters near the port city of Qingdao, which is home to a major naval base for the People's Liberation Army, Chinese news outlet The Paper reported. So now they're everywhere. This just came out.
What's interesting is the NBC report, I think it was in the second half of these clips, I didn't have it, but Biden comes on and says that he ordered it. He specifically says he ordered it shot down.
I think I have that.
So
clip.
I think the news media should go after that little contradiction.
Let's see this.
Trudeau says he ordered it, and you say you ordered it. I'd like to hear what they have to say about that.
Here's the now. I think did CBS break this? Because that's what we need to know. Who broke it? Who was the breaking? It's got to be CBS. This is such an intel operation, one way or the other. If they really don't want anyone to know about it, they can just get rid of it. I don't know. Let's listen to CBS.
Here in Washington, also, the extraordinary rebuke in Congress. The House today voted unanimously, 419-0, to condemn China for its newly uncovered balloon surveillance program.
Okay, so it's a surveillance program.
CBS's David Martin is at the Pentagon tonight with new details on the highly sophisticated spying equipment that was found on that balloon.
Now, I just want to point out that unlike Balloon 1, and we have some interesting aviator clips to listen to. No one has seen Balloon 2 or Balloon 3. There was no video. It's just in our mind. It's the size of a car. It's cylindrical. No one has seen it. It got shot down. There's no video like in the water of the first one. It could be it could be 100% bullshit. We don't even know if it's true. Would you agree with me?
Well, listening to the Canadian general, and who seemed like a pretty no-nonsense guy, he said it was shot down specifically by a specific missile.
Yeah.
I think it was true. I think there was a balloon. I think there was another one in Alaska. I don't think this was a complete fabrication.
Okay, let's continue with CBS.
As FBI evidence teams started shipping pieces of the balloon's wreckage off to the lab, U.S. officials said underwater
stop this clip. You have to go back now because she said specifically would be when she introduced this guy who's always been connected. Play the beginning, the first part of that clip again, because there's something. I'll stop you when it gets to it. They specifically said that they haven't recovered the stuff that's at the bottom of the ocean yet that I know of, have they?
Yeah, it's so confusing. I've only seen them pulling pieces of balloon into the boat.
Yeah.
And this is Balloon 1, right? This is the one we know is a balloon.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about Balloon 1.
Spy balloon.
Here in Washington, also, the extraordinary rebuke in Congress. The House today voted unanimously, 419-0, to condemn China for its newly uncovered balloon surveillance program.
Now, I just want to ask, what is the point of Congress stopping their busy day to vote on condemning a spy balloon program? Do we really need a vote? Was Rand Paul going to vote against it? I mean, I don't understand. Why did we need a vote? Of course we don't want China. If it's true, we don't want.
There's no reason. You're absolutely correct. This is bogus.
Yeah, thank you.
CBS's David Martin is at the Pentagon tonight with new details on the highly sophisticated spying equipment that was found on that balloon.
Okay, right there.
Yeah, highly sophisticated spying
equipment. How do we know it's highly? They haven't dug it. They're still dragging this stuff off the bottom of the ocean.
It's David Martin. He's CBS. Why do you question it, citizen?
As FBI evidence teams started shipping pieces of the balloon's
they got pieces of it.
Wreckage off to the lab. U.S. officials said...
To the lab? What lab?
Well, then they've taken it off to the lab. How do they know it's highly sophisticated?
Let's see.
Underwater pictures of the debris show the electronics it was carrying survived the fall from 60,000 feet, mostly intact.
I haven't had these pictures. They got pictures. They have pictures. I have not seen them.
They already have a good idea of what divers will find because before the balloon was shot down, U-2 spy planes flew by it, taking high-resolution photos of what officials described as an array of antennas for intercepting communications.
I am
they get that information.
Yeah, he's the Pentagon.
Angry.
Man.
I want to use other words.
Well, this is probably the Congress.
But I'm not going to.
You guys have to help me understand why this baby wasn't taken out long before.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is military-industrial complex time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so angry. There's words I could use. Why didn't you guys take it out? It's not.
No, you're missing the real good part. Why wasn't this baby taken out? Isn't that what he said?
Yeah. What kind of world? Yeah, and what world is it? Let's see.
But I'm not going to.
You guys have to help me understand why this baby wasn't taken out long before.
Wow, that's a good catch, John. What kind of baby? Why would he use that term? This baby. Like little fat man? I mean, what baby? What baby? That's odd.
John Tester is the Democratic senator from Montana, where the balloon hovered over a field of 150 silos housing intercontinental ballistic missiles, apparently trying to listen in on the communications used for the command and control of nuclear weapons.
They don't know that.
I got a problem.
Oh, please. You need a balloon to apparently listen in on the communications?
Yeah, put a Ford Bronco out in front with an antenna on it.
Yeah, well, one of those Viper things. Get the cell phone. I mean, come on. That seems a little incredulous.
Used for the command and control of nuclear weapons.
Yeah, because that's all you need. You need a balloon. You can pick up the command and control of nuclear weapons. Sure.
I got a problem with a Chinese balloon flying over my state, much less the rest of the country.
Soon after the balloon was spotted in the sky.
But what the heck? What does that mean? Much less the rest of the country. Or maybe I just mean to miss. I got a problem with it flying over my state, much less the rest of the country.
It's just a phrase.
Okay,
it's a funny phrase.
It's
less the rest of the country.
Soon after the balloon was spotted in the sky.
But what the heck is that?
A U.S. official said it stopped hovering over the missile field and proceeded across the rest of the country, apparently abandoning its spy mission, but still communicating with controllers back in China.
Wait a minute.
I know. They're building the story for us right here.
Talk about a narrative that is unproven. It's just it's just ridiculous.
I love it. I love it.
According to U.S. officials, China has a fleet of high-altitude balloons, which its military has used as a cheap alternative to satellites to fly over some 40 countries around the world.
Oh, it's because satellites are expensive.
Wait a minute.
And China can't afford them.
This is like best price. This is the Chinese version. Oh no, Chinese cannot afford satellite. We got best price. We do balloon. Who are we kidding here?
Well, the public. Now, I want to play these clips from Aviation Week.
This is racist.
The way you characterize it, but yeah. So Aviation Week has a podcast with editors of the magazine, and these are people. Balloon pilots are also aviators, so there's a lot of knowledge about balloons and how they work. And there were some very interesting questions that they raised. I've got 3 clips here. So first, about the original spy balloon. There's something that we don't know anything about balloons other than you love them and I won't fly in them because they land in controlled crash. But here's something that neither of us knew.
This balloon was different than all of the others that we've seen before, in the sense that it still used what appeared to be that super pressure pumpkin-shaped envelope, helium envelope that we've seen with other types of this kind of ultra-long endurance balloon. But it had, instead of having this translucent fabric in the envelope, it had an opaque envelope. And that's pretty important, because it means that they figured out a way to reflect the energy from the sun away from the balloon, so that the solar energy didn't go into the helium inside the gas bag, increase the temperature of that helium, which increases the pressure, which then causes the balloon to explode. That's why all the previous balloons we've seen like this have been translucent at those altitudes and for those durations, to allow that solar energy to pass through the balloon and minimize the amount of heat that gets created within the helium structure itself. So for them to be able to figure out how to do that and keep the overall weight of that structure, that fabric structure, down to a point where they can still have a useful payload, and it looked like they had a pretty substantial payload, is an impressive achievement that people are going to try to be figuring out, especially in the high altitude balloon community.
Well, first of all, it's fun to know there's a high altitude balloon community.
Wow. Well, that's probably the most important thing, is getting the debris of the balloon itself. So you can figure out what that outer fabric was. I think it was silk.
Could be.
Chinese and silk, very common.
Oh, the new Silk Road. Yes, it's in the air as well. Well, then there was a question about the shoot down and how you would actually do this with the weapons that were used.
This is a 200-foot tall balloon. Any holes you put in it, even with 20-millimeter rounds from a F-22 cannon, it's just going to leak out, and it will take several days for the balloon to actually descend to the ground.
So that's part of the answer that we were seeking is, well, why didn't you just shoot the balloon and prick it? Because it would take a long, even with an F-22 missile or rocket, as he said, it would take several days for it to deflate and float down to the ground. So there's that.
Well, if they shot the balloon with the bullets over Montana, they could have tracked it all the way to the ground and picked it up intact.
Yeah, but they did
because it was 2 days. They had at least 2 days.
Yeah.
So that's one issue. So then you have to go to missiles. But then what do you aim at? The helium balloon itself is a void, so even if the missile hits it dead on target, it will just pass through it, and there's a potential it won't even fuse and explode. So what they did, of course, was they aimed, it appears, at the superstructure truss below the balloon, where they could get a heat return or a heat signature for that imaging infrared seeker on an AIM-9X. And that was apparently enough to do it. But even then, nobody's tested an AIM-9X at 58,000 feet from an F-22 or any other aircraft. You just don't have dogfights at that altitude.
Interesting display of weaponry, of using this and showing how effective it is. It could have also been a sales pitch for all we know.
So,
well, they used the same missile on the one in Canada.
As the AIM-9X is ascending from 58,000 feet launch point up to the target, somewhere between 60 and 65,000 feet, that's the most detail we've gotten on where the target actually was. It may have to do some terminal maneuvers in the end game. Now, this is not, the balloon is not evading and it's not running away, so it's still a pretty easy target. But would it have enough authority in its control surfaces up there in that very thin air to actually hit that target? Obviously it did. And they probably weren't worried too much about it at that point, but I bet that they were probably doing some pretty hardcore analysis in that 3 or 4 day period between when, they started looking at it and got the authorization to shoot it down and when they actually shoot it down. Cause I started to think, if they missed that shot, how bad that would have looked in front of the entire world with video cameras clearly showing the first shot missing or the second shot missing and maybe getting it on the third one.
So I just thought that was interesting because...
No, that's interesting for a couple of reasons. One, they may have decided to shoot it down over Montana, but then this public relations issue... we've never been able to use that missile for this and that. Oh, God. And they had to have all these meetings.
Right.
So it was, by the time they got around to it was off the coast.
By the time it got meetings.
And then that explains why the shoot downs over Canada and the Yukon, over Alaska and the Yukon, were they right away because they already knew the missile worked.
Right. So
they didn't have to dilly-dally.
Well, and that's the last clip here. How interesting.
NORAD also had Project Pathfinder, where they went back for other reasons and analyzed all the radar data and used machine learning and AI algorithms to refine how they can tell the difference on secondary and primary radars between aircraft and birds, so that they don't have some of the mistakes that they've made in previous years with that. That might have filtered into this as well. Once they had the characteristics of this.
Wait, what?
What?
Yes.
We've been shooting birds?
No,
there was kind of mistakes. There's some poor pelican going by getting hit by one of these things.
Hey, man, we're glad we could tweak the algo. Save the pelican, tweak the algo.
In previous years with that might have filtered.
Let's go back a little. That was pretty funny.
So that they don't have some of the mistakes that they've made in previous years with that.
I guess so. I guess they've shot some birds. Birds aren't real, by the way.
No.
We all know the birds aren't real.
It filtered into this as well. Once they had the characteristics of this new balloon, and were able to analyze it very specifically, they could probably go back through their radar data and identify other cases very specifically.
so the first one probably helped them get the radar signature so they could figure out, so they could know it's a balloon. Clearly, it's a balloon, people. But yeah, that is not the narrative. The narrative is questioning. What is it?
Flying saucer UFO.
No obvious propulsion mechanism.
No, it's magic.
What flies without an obvious propulsion mechanism? It's hard to think. One of the first things that ever was airborne in history, man-made, was a balloon. Yeah. Oh, man. But it makes it exciting. And I love that China now has one. And it's well documented that we have a high-altitude balloon program.
You brought something up earlier, which you think is this, maybe the whole thing was a hoax, which I don't think so. But it's quite possible that the Chinese one is a hoax just to balance things out.
Sure.
So they can have their little financial meetings, divvy up the world. Who knows what's going on? I don't know what Yeltsin and this guy.
Yeltsin. Janet
of
Yeltsin.
All people.
Janet Yeltsin. It's Yellen, but okay.
Yeah. I'm going to stay with Yeltsin.
I'm with you. I'm with Yeltsin. I think Yeltsin's funnier.
So I guess we know her name's Yellen.
Yeah.
So she's at the head of a melon. So she had a meeting with somebody, with a Chinese guy in Davos, and they guess they were having a good time yakking.
Yeah.
And they decided on something, and they have to finish this off. I guess they had to go to. So she's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's very suspicious.
It's fantastic.
It's not the narrative the public's getting. Whatever's going on with China.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I love this morning's report. It's Bloomberg, so it was launched properly. They sent the press release to the right outlets because Bloomberg will make a difference. And it's over.
They'll print anything.
And it's over. What? They'll print
anything, especially if it has to do with climate change.
I don't know. Well, this is China over the port, so I don't know. But there was all kinds of great stuff, and I love that they're feeding the algos because, of course, that means that the answers for our defense come from ChatGPT. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it a balloon? I'm asking the question, please, ChatGPT.
Can I be of assistance?
Yeah, do we shoot it down or not? So then we have, I would say, as predicted, the massive failure of this ChatGPT bull crap, which, I mean, and of epic proportion. You even said that this Google Bard, which you immediately said Google Barf, which I love because now I use it everywhere. The Google Barf that bot failed.
A multi-billion-dollar duel is underway to be the front door of the internet.
A race starts today.
Microsoft announced this week that
Hold on. It's Microsoft versus Barf.
Artificial intelligence will soon allow conversations with its software and search engine Bing. Google raced to announce similar plans. Both tech giants trying to change the internet from a world in which we navigate between web pages to one where interactive discussions with chatbots gives us information. For a generation, Google has been the verb for finding things online, and it commands more than 90% of the search engine market. But Microsoft, thanks to its partnership with ChatGPT maker OpenAI, is on the attack.
Now, let's see what happened Friday after our show.
It definitely is an arms race. Bing is rocketing up the App Store charts. So much of the world is organized around serving Google and understanding what people are searching for in Google.
Chinese tech giants Baidu and Alibaba also plan to debut new AI technology. But while chatbots look authoritative, AI can make mistakes. Google's own demo for its new chatbot called Bard included a basic factual error, and research has shown that AI trained to mimic human language picks up our biases. Critics worry the race to make money from AI technology is moving too fast.
I would love to hear a CEO saying, look, we've got the research, we're capable of making it, but we're pausing, and we urge others to do so as well, instead of just saying, oh, we're going to outrace the other.
But with billions at stake, the race is already on.
Yeah.
That woman sounds just like the woman that used to be at NPR and said advertising or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's a milieu of these women.
Oh, PR ladies.
Yeah, kind of. But there are also a lot of executives with this voice, this intonation. This is a joke.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I have that clip.
Okay, moving on to money.
How
Same
are
voice.
NPR's
Yeah.
corporate underwriting revenues holding up in the recession? And
Yeah, she does. But of course, it was Jill, I think, who gave. Well,
what about
let's listen.
foundation grants?
Two different stories.
There she is. There she
Underwriting underwriting is down. It's down for everybody.
Let's listen to the lady over here.
Urge others to do so as well, instead of
No,
just
she
saying,
sounds more like the person asking the question.
Yeah,
She
you're right.
sounds more like a journalist.
Yeah.
So that would be right because PR people mostly are journalists.
Okay, moving on to money. How are NPR's
pausing,
That girl.
and we
That's what she
urge
sounds
others
like.
to do so as well, instead of just saying, "Oh, we're going to outrace."
Yeah, you're right.
corporate underwriting
Well, let's
revenues
finish- let's
holding
finish
up
this
in the
clip just 'cause it's
recession?
good.
And what about foundation grants?
I've got to finish it now.
Two different stories. Underwriting underwriting is down. It's down for everybody.
It's down.
I mean, this is the area that is most down for us. Is in sponsorship, underwriting, advertising. Call it whatever you want.
Yeah, it's all the same thing. Now, what I loved about this is so Google presents Google Barf. It fails. The first question that is asked, it answers incorrectly because some scientist says, "Oh, that was incorrect." The stock drops 9%, $100 billion valuation wiped off the company.
That was a mistake.
$100 billion with one stupid question. And this is the point.
But you have to consider the possibility that it was meant to answer the question wrong so they could get off this track because, as you pointed out, this is not good for advertising.
It's not good for anything. But I think that Google is much more on the ropes than we know. They still spend $13 billion a quarter on traffic acquisition costs. $13 billion to get people to come to Google so they can advertise to them. That's a lot of money. So they're doing a version of what everyone does of arbitrage. What does it cost me to get some people over here? Well, how much can I make on the ads? But for some reason, this ChatGPT, it caught the marketing. And I think it's also partially venture capital firms, venture capitalists who are, in my opinion, mostly moronic. Here, I'm going to give you an example. Remember, we had Pod Show, and we had Kleiner Perkins as one of our investors.
Yeah, at the time, one of the big shots.
One of the big shots, along with Sequoia, but we dealt more. And Ray Lane. Ray Lane was our partner that we dealt with. He had run Oracle as a president.
Famous.
Very, very famous guy. And so it was, in fact, the woman who later sued for sexual harassment. What was her name?
I can't remember.
Oh,
the Chinese
Ellen Pao. Ellen Pao? I'm going to say Ellen Pao.
Ellen Pao. I keep thinking of Wen.
No, I think it was Ellen Pao.
Yeah, it was Ellen Pao.
And so we're in a
still
meeting.
Floating around, writing books, and she's.
Oh yeah. So we're sitting there in the meeting, and and we're building Pod Show, and at the time things were popping, things were happening, and along came Juiced. Do we remember Juiced? JOOST. Which was some kind of, it was from the makers of Skype, which is the only reason why they got any attention. And it was some kind of, this is a video streaming thing. It was I can't even explain what it was. But in the meeting.
Nobody could.
And where is it? In the meeting, you should really make it more like Juiced. Yeah, it has to be like Juice. And we're like, what are you talking about? And by the way, Ron Bloom then went off and turned it into Mevio to make it look like YouTube. So, mistakes are made all the time everywhere. Whereas podcasting is still here, I might point out. So when you get this Chat GPT and you get, oh man, Chat GPT, Microsoft invested in, oh man, and Elon Musk says Chat GPT, look at it, it's doing poems, it's writing term papers. We need to have this on Google. No worries, said Sundar Pichai, who clearly knows that this is not artificial. He knows what artificial intelligence is, and he knows that it's machine learning. He knows there's applications. This is a parlor trick. Just because it's typing out and you think that you're talking to a human, this is great. And he says, okay, boss, we can do that. We got Google Barf. And it fails right now. Maybe you're right. But I have story after story. Google is losing control. Google loses $100 billion in market value after chatbot incorrectly answers question about Webb Space Telescope. It was apparently a fairly easy one. So this may just these companies, I've said it before, they do go away. Big companies, they do end and new ones come in and replace it. And Google was the darling when we were all using Alta Vista. That was the search engine, and Google came in and they had their algorithm, which was how many inbound links does a website have, and that would be deemed the top of the search results. And they also did it fast because that was their main marketing is this got to you in 1.2 seconds. That was all part of what Google was. And
their speed was a big deal. But I think the smart money was using Alta Vista, but the public in general was using Yahoo.
Sure. And look where that went. Same thing. Yahoo, AOL, MySpace. You can go on and on. It does happen. The new thing, which of course is TikTok. And you notice TikTok's not doing any of that. They're not doing any. They know how it works. They have humans. They have idiots who go, look at this food. This is the restaurant you want to eat at. So, which we know from research is true. 1 in 2 people go to TikTok before they go to Google to search for stuff. So Google is in trouble. And they've also overdone it with sponsored links and paid for links and stuff they own. And the whole thing, of course, is a giant scam. So I love that this is happening. This is really funny. And they're trying to make, we got a cool note from someone in the language business. I see Meg, I think is her name. I've been thinking about ChatGPT a lot lately, and have enjoyed your discussions and insights on the show. There's a concept in linguistics called poverty of the stimulus, which refers to children who acquire a language despite having an incomplete exposure to that language. That is, they never hear all the words in context and often hear ungrammatical bits of language, yet they still acquire language to a high level. ChatGPT is trained on a much more complete data set than any human. The bot can mimic language, sometimes producing, quote, better output than a human. But she says, I believe the fundamentally human thing about language is that we learn to speak with a vastly inferior data set. So not until they, meaning Google, Barf, and Microsoft and everyone else, train a chatbot to use language with poverty-ridden stimulus like us, I think they will be onto something. I think that's very interesting, and that is probably one of the things that we notice inherently when these things write out, talk to you. It doesn't sound human because it's too much. It's too the resolution of the speech is too high. Does that make sense?
Well, I can't say it makes sense, but I can see it being in play because that's what she claims. I mean, I like it.
Now, how about this?
I like the observation.
I have a boots on the ground from someone in the voiceover and audiobook business. How about that?
Now you're talking.
I have a little boots on the ground for AI and voiceover. I'm a newer audiobook narrator. It's a side gig for me, 3 to 5 books a year. The expense, the training, learning, the technical side, and actual time spent is intense. This is insight that I didn't have. I'm very pleased that this is No Agenda Show. Our producers are boots on the ground. Go read our mission statement. You can see that this is how we operate. We have
someone in every field of expertise.
I'm waiting for the balloon pilots. I'm waiting for the balloon pilots to show up.
Yes. Okay. We probably have one.
Oh, definitely. The expense of for an 8-hour book, it can take 5 times the amount of time.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Narrators make money 3 ways. PFH, which is per finished hour, by royalty only, or smaller PFH, so per finished hour, plus royalty. A lot of newer narrators do royalty only to get their foot in the door. My experience, it's very difficult to actually make money on that. I no longer do royalty only. I believe it too. Not to mention, I'm sure they screw you just like the record business.
It's the whole thing. Everything in, yeah. Of course.
Not to mention delivering compelling storytelling and trying to do weird character voices. Ha! My voiceover colleagues, especially in audiobooks, are in an absolute uproar over AI. Findaway Voices is a large audiobook distribution hub. Think of a dating website for authors and narrators, plus the distribution to all places audiobooks are sold. Findaway Voices, who are now connected to Spotify, has language buried in their contract that states the audio provided may be used to assist machine learning for Apple.
No, yeah. Yeah, I see where that's going. But I think I have a counter argument to what our friend here has to say.
Okay.
Hello?
I'm listening. I'm waiting for your counter argument.
Oh, I thought you were still reading from him.
Well, I think it's it doesn't matter. But there is more. But the point is,
well, yeah.
Hold on. Let me just finish it. It's opt out. It's opt out of the contract. So unless you know about what's going on when you read this, they can use your voice unless you opt out of the contract to be trained for AI, and as far as I can see, also use the samples from your voice. And I have the language here, so I believe that is true.
I believe, yes.
I do believe.
And that would be what they're going to do.
Yes.
Then they're going to do it with actors and everyone. That's where you have to be on the top. You have to be on the head of it. You have to be ahead of this.
Yeah.
But my thinking was the following, that the voice guy can do. Train his own voice into the AI, and then have, when he's given an assignment to read a book, use the AI and then clean it up later. Instead of spending 40 hours on an AI, what did he say? It was 5 to 1, 10 to 1?
Five times.
5 to 1, instead of spending 50 hours on a 10-hour read, just don't spend any time. Just have your phony voice do the read, and then go in and clean it up. Or you have to do little voices and stuff, do cut-ins. And it would probably take half the amount of time it takes right now. That's what I was thinking. Because
so that works once, and then it's all done. I mean, it's clear that you are right.
No, not if it's in the contract. Here's what has to happen. I've said this on the show before, and I'm going to say it again. There has to be new laws written so your voice, your distinctive voice, is copywritten and owned by you.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with that, but guess what? That's not going to happen fast enough. Look, we have Chinese balloons. Got no time for this. We need resolutions to say we disagree with balloons.
This has to be done immediately.
Yeah, well, dream on. That's not going to happen.
It is going to happen.
Immediately? No, not going to happen immediately.
It's going to happen quick.
Nah, okay. Well, I hope so. Because you're the first one to go.
What? Are you going to use a phony? Yes, Adam.
Yes.
Here's me on the new No Agenda show somehow without John C. Dvorak. Yes, Adam, you're totally correct.
What did you say, John? I don't think you're right.
That's how it's. In fact, it's not even going to be John C. Dvorak anymore. It's going to be my sidekick.
Thank you, Adam. I love working with you.
No, you're good. You're on the money there. You're so much better than John.
I know. His rubbers were loose.
So, we really... Hey, I can do this all day long. In fact, don't even come on the next show. All right.
So there's that button is on the...
I made this one. Yeah, I made this one myself. I tuned it. It's not standard. You got to use the systems. There was an update, so of course I was playing with it. That's my.
I like that guy.
That's my.
Well, thank you, John. This is our exit strategy. Sometimes I'm on Z100.
That guy is good, isn't he?
He is good. Guy. I like him.
You
got to give him a name.
Okay. Well, how about a name?
Can I be of assistance?
Okay. What's his name? We got to give him a name.
Well, I think it's just Zippy comes to mind.
Zippy.
Hey, I like it. Hi, everybody. I'm Zippy.
It's Zippy.
Zippy, the AI of the No Agenda Show.
Yeah. All right. Zippy in the house. Zippy. All right. Zippy is now our official co-host. Whenever we need information, we can always call on Zippy. Because, as we know, Zippy is...
always right.
I'm glad you like it. This is just unexpected.
I think that people that listen to this show have to think to themselves, podcasting is not as easy as it sounds.
Right, thank you. 40 years of experience here, ladies and gentlemen.
How do you have the Zippy character just show up on the show out of the blue?
Well, it's Zippy. How do you have your character show up on the podcast out of the blue? Why?
Because it's the best podcast in the universe.
There you go.
You know what it's a little like, this guy?
No.
Freddie the Fire Hose or whatever that guy's name.
No. Hey, it's Freddie the Firewall.
Hey, I don't like that guy. It's me now, Zippy.
I think Zippy is a little more upbeat and what's the word?
Oh, he's totally upbeat. That's what makes him Zippy.
What's that?
Positive.
Yeah, positive. It's a little more like that. This is almost like an audio version of a ventriloquist.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Is at any point Zippy can come in?
Excuse me, I gotta say something.
Shut up for a second, Zippy.
No, I got something important to say.
All right, what do you want to say?
Nothing.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a whole new podcast.
Yeah, we have 3 people now.
We got 3.
We got the dummy with the wood-headed dummy
named
Zippy.
Dummy?
Marty can even write bits for him. I mean, now Marty, that's what Marty's going to be good at. No, we have to temper Zippy, though. But thank you. We have a name. Zippy is in the bag. All right. Now, so I think we just have to talk for a moment about the pushback, the enormous pushback on Seymour Hersh's Substack article about who blowed up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
Yeah, I read it after the show.
And what did you think?
It's a very classic Seymour Hersh. A lot of confidential sources. A little bit of embellishment, I believe, but not too much. I think he's on the money. I think, generally speaking, he blew this out of the water. It's a little different than the earlier thesis that it was UK. That was behind it.
Or Poland. There was a couple of.
There was a number of things, but this made the most sense, and coming from him, and it was well put together. I liked it a lot. I think he nailed it, and it got no play.
Well, it got pushback, is what it got. So first there was a press briefing. At the State Department, so Jake Sullivan was taking it on, and the audio sounds a little thin. I'm not sure what happened, why it's so thin, or from the microphone that the journalist. And no Matt, by the way, I was waiting for Matt to show up with a question, but I haven't found one of his yet. This is one of the reporters who I recognize from the State Department briefing room, and here's a snippet.
I'm sure you're aware of the new report from Seymour Hersh, how America took out the Nord Stream pipeline and the White House's denial of any involvement. Given the longstanding U.S. opposition to the pipeline, Secretary Blinken's calling its demise a tremendous opportunity, and Secretary of State Nuland's saying that the U.S. officials were pleased with the destruction of the pipeline, especially the Sweden's secretive investigation. Do you think the U.S. government's denial of involvement is credible?
I absolutely do, and I repeat it here. Anything else?
Let me follow up on that, if I might. Have you or anybody else at the State Department been in communication with German, Norwegian ambassadors or other allies or officials on this matter?
On the matter of Nord Stream 2?
On the matter of the latest allegations, which give a fairly, it's an anonymous source. It is a fairly
it would not be it would not be typical for us to engage allies and partners on something that is utter and complete nonsense. And that
I love this answer. So, no, of course we wouldn't engage allies and other entities on something that's nonsense. This is so good, Jake.
It would not be typical for us to engage allies and partners on something that is utter and complete nonsense and that should be rejected out of hand by anyone who is looking at it through an objective lens. Yes, go ahead.
One more aspect on this. One of the allegations that Hersh makes is that it was taken off the CIA in order to prevent involvement, oversight as a covert operation. Did you read the piece?
I'm familiar with it.
Familiar with it.
One of his allegations is that it was taken off the.
Rather than let this propaganda be aired in the briefing room.
Rather than let this propaganda be aired in the briefing room.
Operation. Did you read the piece?
I'm familiar with it.
One of his allegations is that it was taken off the.
Rather than let this propaganda be aired in the briefing room, but let me just say it is a fundamental misunderstanding of oversight in our U.S. Congress. Beyond getting his facts entirely wrong, as he has before in very high-profile ways, it is a fundamental misunderstanding to suggest that.
So I love the discreditation here. Rather he gets things wrong in rather high-profile ways. He's gotten things wrong. What was that? Was that the My Lai massacre? Or was that the Abu Ghraib prison torture? Was that wrong in high-profile ways? What did he screw up? Our Pulitzer Prize-winning, award-winning journalist, investigative journalist Seymour Hersh. What did he screw up? Where was he so? Oh, the Russian collusion story. That was where he really screwed up, if I recall, because he was wrong. It was propaganda.
Here's what if they had. Hersh does have a bad habit, and if they wanted to smear him, they could do this. One of the agencies, if they put it together, they put some time into it. I don't think they do. I think he's an asset. I think the agencies, the intel agencies.
Who's an asset? Hersh is an asset.
I think he's an asset because he does dig through stuff. He does find leaks. My God.
Wait a minute, an asset for who? I don't understand what you're saying. We say an asset.
I think he's an asset for the spy agencies. Because he shows them that here's where you screwed up. And it's like, here's another, look what I found. You guys aren't very good at this. Here's the whole story. Here he is again. Because if they wanted to smear him and get him out of the picture completely, they could do it because he's known amongst journalists even, who know him well. He's known for saying screwy stuff in public.
Yes.
He never writes anything that's inaccurate or as far as he's concerned. His writing is impeccable, but when he goes and gives speeches,
he says weird crap.
He says stuff that he never writes up, that if you documented it, you could ruin him.
Let's listen. There's another 30 seconds left.
One of his allegations is that it was taken off the.
Rather than let this propaganda be aired in the briefing room, but let me just say it is a fundamental misunderstanding of oversight in our U.S. Congress. Beyond getting his facts entirely wrong, as he has before in very high-profile ways, it is a fundamental misunderstanding to suggest that our intelligence community is not subject to oversight. Anyone who writes that, anything like that, should not be believed on any fact that
he wrote that it was taken off of the CIA.
Can you back it up? Does this guy actually say our intelligence community is not subject to oversight?
As before in very high-profile ways, it is a fundamental misunderstanding to suggest that our intelligence community is not subject to oversight. Anyone who writes that,
you got it right. Yeah, okay.
Anything who writes anything.
Says, okay, yeah.
Well, so that was part of the interesting part of the article, which I even highlighted, was that once it's taken out of the intelligence community, moved to the way President Biden and Victoria Nuland said that, we know how to do it, something changed and they did not have to report to Congress. That is
there was a technicality took place.
And so Sullivan is saying that's not true.
Anyone who writes that, anything like that, should not be believed on any fact that
he wrote that it was taken off of the CIA and put under military in order to prevent.
Our military is also subject to rigorous oversight.
That's my question. That's my question.
The answer is yes.
Do you recognize and abide by the War Powers Clause in such a situation and the War Powers Resolution in such a situation?
In a situation, your question is if we abide by the War Powers Resolution in a situation that never occurred?
In any situation involving U.S. military, do you abide by the War Powers Resolution?
We follow the law in every instance, yes.
Including the War Powers Resolution?
We follow the War Powers Resolution and the broader law in every instance, yes.
Now, he said in the broader law, so that was that. I am not a lawyer, so I can't really figure out if he's right or not.
But you have to be a specialist lawyer, too, not just any lawyer.
Yeah, which...
I have some qualifications.
Yeah, shut up, Zippy. So it sounds squirrely what he's doing there. Sounds squirrely. It was fun to watch
this is a horrible situation that Hearst has uncovered. Hirsch. I'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
He's uncovered a situation that's it's inexcusable. We can't be doing this.
What was cool about... so, of course, I read the Dutch press. Actually, Ancilla sent this to me. So RTL News, RTL, an entertainment organization, but okay, they have news. RTL News, they reported on this. Seymour Hersh, claims to have evidence and a whistleblower and everything, or an inside source that the Americans blew up the pipeline. They did it. And so that, of course, had to be stopped because, they got the message late, or the memo. It was like, oh, no. So they put an overlay on top of the story, so that you see that first before you read the story about the story. And it said, we need to be really careful about this story because this guy is a known disinformation journalist.
What?
Wait for it. Because the last time he said anything the last time he reported on anything that was true was Watergate. They don't even have the right guy. They're thinking Woodward and Bernstein. Cy Hersh didn't report on Watergate.
Not that I recall.
But that's how stupid this is. We got to put something, we got to discredit him. Watergate. It's an old guy. Oh, one of those guys. Yeah, Watergate.
Wow.
It's that stupid. Now, I have a supercut just to remind us, the collusion and the equal messaging from politicians, the intelligence community, the high-altitude balloon community, and the media. This comes from Matt Taibbi's Substack. It's a video done by Orf. And you need to see the whole... it's almost 8 minutes, but you just tell me when you'd like to stop. It is... and everyone, you must go watch this supercut, and you'll recognize many of the voices. And, oh, surprise, it's across the board. It's Republicans, it's Democrats, it's Fox News, it's CNN. They were all in on the messaging.
There will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that?
I promise you we'll be able to do it.
Someone blew up Russia's Nord Stream pipeline. We'd have to conclude without the evidence that it's most likely
Russian sabotage on its own infrastructure.
It's a common sense matter.
I think it's Putin's way of sending a message.
What Putin is saying to us by blowing up his pipeline is, look, I can blow up a pipeline.
Everyone knows that Putin did this himself.
It's the closest thing to a smoking gun without the direct proof.
Yeah, I think logic and common sense will tell you that
without the evidence,
Russia was behind the incident.
We can say it for sure.
Who sabotaged the Nord Stream 2 pipeline?
The Russians.
I love the certainty and I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, there's exactly one country on that list of suspects, Brad, and Russia would be it.
It's hard to imagine others with a significant motive, but
we will bring an end to it.
Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
Who did it? What a mystery.
One way or another, Nord Stream 2 will not move forward.
But it remains unclear who could have been behind the Nord Stream pipeline leaks.
Make explicitly clear to anyone involved with constructing this pipeline that the consequences of doing so are catastrophic.
Fred Cruz
would do such a thing like this.
That offers tremendous strategic opportunity.
We still don't know who caused damage to the natural gas pipelines.
U.S. Secretary of State warned against the pipeline.
The Nord Stream pipeline mystery continues.
U.S. says they'll do everything to stop the Nord Stream pipeline.
We do everything we can.
Then I have no idea who is responsible.
Kill Nord Stream 2 now.
Put an end to it.
use all the tools available.
Stop the Nord Stream 2.
And let it rust beneath the waves of the Baltic.
It's almost inconceivable to think that the US would do it.
A member of European Parliament publicly thanked the U.S. for blowing up the pipelines.
This pipeline must be stopped.
Who would do that and why?
According to U.S. government think tank Rand Corp, the first step to weaken Russia is to stop Nord Stream 2.
So it's a real mystery.
Halt Nord Stream 2 to stop Russia.
Shut down the Nord Stream 2 pipeline
Stopping the Nord Stream.
Take out Nord Stream 2 forever.
permanently.
Ending it permanently.
End it once and for all.
U.S. must take immediate steps to terminate Nord Stream.
Should cancel the Nord Stream pipeline.
Absolutely, we should cut it off.
We must stop this Nord Stream.
We have made clear to the Russians that that pipeline is at risk if they move further into Ukraine. We can't find anybody who'd be the obvious culprit in all of this.
When it comes to Nord Stream 2, the pipeline that would bring natural gas from Russia to Germany, it will not happen.
You want some more? Because I love the story they built on this.
It's pretty obvious, everyone's demanding something happen and then blaming Russia.
And blame Russia.
It's unbelievable how you can get away with that.
And it's everyone. Want to hear a little bit more?
I think we've heard enough.
Okay.
But you can play another minute.
It was a deliberate act of sabotage, and now the Russians are pumping out disinformation and lies.
I want to bring in former CIA Director John Brennan.
Russia is certainly the most likely suspect.
Russia is certainly the likeliest suspect. Russia is most likely behind this.
Russia is the likely cause of it.
Likelihood that Russia is behind the attacks.
Very likely. Russian.
Likely Russian.
It is likely that this is an act by Russia.
The most likely thing is in fact the most likely thing. Russia.
The most likely suspect at this point, according to many, is Russia.
I've heard people I trust saying that it's just probably Russia.
Vladimir Putin, the most likely.
Russia is likely to blame.
I mean, that's totally something Putin would do, and then go blame it on someone else.
Essentially a scenario of cutting off your nose to spite your face here.
Why would Russia bomb its own pipeline? It doesn't seem to make sense if you're thinking in a rational actor scenario, but
experts agree that Russia is the
right. Experts agree. What's cool though is when you see that thing, what like The Hill, what's that babyface kid named who's on The Hill podcast?
I don't know.
It's left, right, it's everything. They're all in on it. They were all in on it, and to an unbelievable degree.
Well, Adam, it's possible that Putin did it because it makes us look bad. That's what he does. He's tricky.
Of course.
He's tricky.
Of course, that's what he does. Exactly.
And so he's going to invest a few $1 billion in a pipeline and then blow it up so he can make us look bad. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. I'm with you on that one. So there are some things.
That's our analysis. That's our fine media that doesn't even think twice about.
Yeah,
it's weird.
So Zelensky wrapped up his world tour in Brussels at the European Union. Because he went everywhere pretty much. France, not much reporting on it here because balloon. Or UFO.
Balloon.
UFO. Here's France 24.
UFO.
France 24 with a wrap up.
it was a case of welcome home, welcome to the EU. That's how European Council Chief Charles Michel greeted Volodymyr Zelensky as the Ukrainian president arrived in Brussels. It's just the latest stop on a tour of Europe that saw him meet with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak in London yesterday. He's been pressing European leaders for more military support and underlining the importance of EU unity in the face of existential threats. The question of EU membership was also a major theme addressed by Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Zelensky himself. Let's hear from them.
Your fight is a fight for independence, for democracy, for free Europe. We all heard the urgency of your call to support Ukraine now. You spoke in a very moving manner about and praising the European way of life. And you added that Ukrainians want to come home to this European way of life. And indeed, today, you see we are one family, we have one vision, and family members help each other. You can count on us.
long-term peace in Europe will only happen when Ukraine will gain the victory and will become the member of the European Union. This is the unity we've managed to build.
That was the translator for Zelensky, and you hear very clearly, you want peace? No. Not until we're a member of the European Union.
Well, I have a couple of clips on this, but since you're on that particular topic, let's play what the Chinese think of this. I've changed from NTT. Screw New Tang Dynasty. I'm going to China's CGTN.
What is this?
Well, this is the Chinese Global Television Network.
Oh, so these guys
PRC.
are all PRC, pro-China. Okay.
This is China.
Oh, China.
So let's listen to how they're looking at this, what you just played. This is Ukraine-EU help.
Okay.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has assured Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky of the support by the European Union. She says Ukraine and the EU are one family and that Ukraine can depend on the bloc's support in its fight against Russia.
I love that our clips mesh together.
Zelensky has delivered a speech to European lawmakers and later addressed all leaders of the EU members' special summit in Brussels. Alex Carrier has more.
President Zelensky came to Brussels primarily to thank his European allies. Billions of euros have been spent from the 27 member states and from the European Union on supporting Ukraine. He also wants to ask for more help, maybe more for fighter jets. On the other hand, accession to the European Union, a big theme for President Zelensky. He said, look, we want to be members of the EU. We want those accession negotiations to begin within a year. That is a different timeline to what the Europeans are saying. Ursula von der Leyen saying, look, it'll happen when it happens. It's a merits-based system. There is no rigid timeline. But what is clear is that the Ukrainians want that access as quickly as possible, and the Europeans are saying it can happen. It's just a question of whether or not you put those reforms in place.
Well, hold on a second. I like that because now we're talking about who's in the EU and who's not in the EU. And, there are many other candidate countries, one of them being Moldova. And I had to get this clip from WION, an Indian news outfit. And Moldova, the government just quit.
Moldova's prime minister has resigned and the government has collapsed. The pro-Western government resigned after a turbulent 18 months in power, marked by economic turmoil and spillover effects of the Ukraine war. Shortly before the prime minister, Natalia Gavrilita, stepped down, the government said a Russian missile violated Moldovan airspace. Russia's envoy was summoned to protest the airspace violation. Moscow has troops in Moldova's breakaway region in Transnistria. Russia has bristled at the possibility of the former Soviet Republic joining the EU. On Thursday, the country's intelligence service confirmed Ukrainian allegations that Russia has acted to destabilize Moldova. The former Soviet Republic of...
Wait. We're taking confirmation from Ukraine now? They're the guys that confirm something?
The country's intelligence service confirmed Ukrainian allegations.
Go back again.
Soviet Republic joining the EU. On Thursday, the country's intelligence service confirmed Ukrainian allegations that Russia has acted to destabilize Moldova. The former Soviet Republic of 2.5 million has suffered from soaring inflation and was strained last year by an influx of Ukrainian refugees. It has also suffered power cuts following Russian air attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Now, dependence on Russian gas is another issue. The steep price increases, particularly for Russian gas, led to street protests last year. The president, Maya Sandu, accepted Gavrilita's decision. However, she has given no sign of abandoning her pro-Western policies, including seeking European Union accession. Last year, in a diplomatic triumph for President Sandu, the EU leaders accepted Moldova as a membership candidate. The government had been mapping out reforms to accelerate secession to the 27-nation bloc and working on diversifying its energy supply.
So Moldova Moldova's on deck.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. To the west of Ukraine, I might point out.
So I'm looking. I get the other CGT.
Wait, are they going to? Well, I'm going to ask you a question. Could they be now surrounding Ukraine by bringing Moldova, under Russian control?
Idea. That could be. That'd be pretty tricky.
That would be very tricky, Ruskies. I mean, it's to the south. I should say, not completely to the west, but
I don't have my map up.
Well, I do. To the north of Odessa. So, it could be a southwestern flank. He said in military parlance.
Flank.
Okay, back to you, Bob.
Now, there was an interesting clip I've got. This one's going to be, you're going to like. Cuomo on his show.
Oh, the kid Cuomo, not the old guy. The kid
Chris. Yeah. Chris is going to go back to Ukraine today.
Oh, because
yesterday. Friday.
Because he's brave.
Oh, yeah.
He's very brave. Yeah.
And throughout this particular episode, I can get some more examples of this for the next show, but he goes on and every time he talks to anybody, he says, you think that's as important as me going to Ukraine?
No.
And by the way, I'll be in Ukraine next week.
Oh, can I just say something about this? I got a note from one of our guys who's in Lviv, I guess. So right on the border, right on the border.
Well, Lviv is east, is the western part. It's way over in the west.
And so the journalists are there. They're embedded. They're hanging out. And according to my source, known to me, they are whoring and drinking and just hanging out. And
you're in Ukraine. That's what you do.
And anyone who writes something negative about Ukraine is off the party bus. They're sent home. But specifically, whoring and drinking was pointed out to me.
Yeah.
So Chris Cuomo's going to the source of pleasure.
He needs to get laid. That guy.
He does. Yes.
So, but he lets a little item slip, and what's funny about it is right after he gives this little spiel, he has a general on, and the general is just like this woman after the Canadian general. The general is looking like deer in the headlights, like, what did you just say? And God, I hope you're not going to ask me about it, which is what he should do. But see if you can figure in this is the opening. This is the bonus clip, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is the his lead up to the item that I'm talking about, which is like, what? And then his continuation, and he's oblivious to what he said. And I want to mention the old saying from World War II, loose lips sink ships.
And as always, this show's about you, my brothers and sisters. So have your say. 1-844-968-7720 and get it in, because I'm not here tomorrow because we're traveling to Ukraine. We're going to leave right after this, okay? And if everything goes right, we'll be up and live for you Monday from what is happening in Ukraine, from somewhere in there that we can get a signal out.
Yeah.
Why are we going?
Why?
Two reasons. Okay. One, it's the 1 year anniversary of something that was supposed to just take a few weeks. Okay. And once again today, Ukraine's president made an.
Wait a minute. Whose side is he on? When he says it was only supposed to take a few weeks, what did he believe Putin?
I don't know whose side he's on. I mean, he promotes the war, so he's on that side. I don't know. I think the guy is not that bright.
Yeah.
And what happens when he tells the next story, it's like, wait a minute.
One, it's the 1 year anniversary of something that was supposed to just take a few weeks. Okay. And once again today, Ukraine's president made an emotional plea for more help, not just from us, from allies all around the world, all around the region. And I want to tell you about that. And I know that there's a little bit of compassion fatigue and hey, they're winning, right? So it's going to be okay. It's their problem. Quick story. A buddy of mine is taking me into the city right before now. Okay. Today, this happened. And he doesn't seem okay. And I said, what's going on? What's wrong? He says, I just lost.
He's talking about his limo driver? Is that a buddy of mine? Because that's the kind of friends he would have. The limo driver. So,
could be.
Yeah.
This happened.
It's irrelevant.
Well,
and he doesn't seem okay. And I said, what's going on? What's wrong? He says, I just lost a friend. I said, I'm very sorry. What happened? He said, well, he was in the Army. And they don't know where he is now. And the rest of the patrol came back. He wasn't there. I said, oh. In the U.S. Army? What was it? Training? He said, no. He was fighting in Ukraine. I said, oh. Well, where was he? Oh, he was in this place called Bakhmut. Now, here I am on Long Island in New York, talking to a guy I didn't even know had any connection to the situation.
He's a buddy, though.
And his friend is missing, and presumed the worst, hopefully not, in the exact same place that my team and I are about to go to. Now, you know how when you hear a story like that, you say, ooh, what a small world. Yeah, it is a small world. And there is much more connective tissue than we assume that it's over there. It's their problem. It's not their problem. Russia wanting to rebuild the Soviet Union is going to be a problem, not just their problem. And there'll be a lot of connective tissue, stories like that one, people from here. But ramifications of commerce, of fuel, of food, and of course, of freedom.
Okay.
So I'm listening to that saying, wait a minute. The U.S. Army? We have patrols, we have soldiers fighting and dying in Ukraine? Since when?
Well, there's two ways to answer this. One, I get daily reports of mercs killed in action, U.S. mercenaries. So this could be just a mischaracterization that it was U.S. Army versus he's a mercenary. They fight for money anywhere. And they're in northern Afghanistan and Iraq and anywhere you need American mercs,
we know that
you can
there's
get 'em.
mercenaries everywhere. There used to be a magazine for them.
But how about this clip?
To the war in Ukraine, and tonight the White House now confirming President Biden will travel to Poland to mark 1 year since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And tonight, Russia now ramping up its major new assault. Tom Sufi-Burge in Ukraine again tonight.
Yeah, David, Russia launching a fresh wave of lethal attack drones. Kiev's air defense in action again tonight. It follows earlier waves of missile and drone strikes targeting Ukraine's power grid. Russian warships and bombers firing those 100 missiles, cruise missiles primarily. Ukraine saying most were shot down, but those that got through hit power stations across Ukraine. Also today, Ukrainian officials confirming to ABC News the US has been providing the coordinates for most strikes against Russian targets with those US-supplied HIMARS rocket launchers, a deeper level of US involvement than previously known.
That might answer some of our question.
We have people over there that should not be over there.
They're painting targets in the field.
Yeah.
In the field.
Yeah. Or who knows what. They're probably shooting people too.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, there you go. Advisors. Only advising. Just advisors. We know that's how it works. Advisors. There is a global shift underway, and this was highlighted.
By the way, before you continue, I would like to know, Cuomo left it at that. He never asked anybody anything about it. Like, he's like oblivious to his own observation. Anyway, I just found it peculiar.
Because I would say that I think many Americans certainly think we're at war with Russia. That's how it's been positioned. It's right. And we're sending troops. And at a certain point, when does the general population, usually over-socialized, underinformed, see Chris Cuomo, think, we're fighting them. We're America. We're fighting them, aren't we? Aren't we fighting them? So so we have a change or a shift, I would say, in global. What is the word I'm looking for? Influence in the region, and things that have changed since World War II to now. And of all places, what are you doing?
I'm sorry, I was crushing a can
against your head.
Yeah.
Okay. When this comes up on the Morning Joe show with Joe and Mika, then you know that this is a message, and they brought someone with them in full uniform.
Well, the war has entered a new stage in recent weeks as dozens of tanks were pledged by European allies to aid in Ukraine's defense, with some already on their way. Leading the charge in that effort is Poland, which in late January stressed that even if other countries did not want to send tanks, Poland would. Joining us now, Polish Chief of Defense General Ray and Jacek, and it is really good to have you on board. Poland has stepped up immediately with no debate in so many ways. Tell us about your visit here and your message to America and other partnering nations in aid of Ukraine.
Very good morning.
Morning.
Ukraine is absolutely extremely important for Poland.
So this is the chief of defense of Poland is on the Morning Joe show in full uniform as now the new center of power, or the balance is shifted towards Poland.
Very good morning. Ukraine is absolutely extremely important for Poland. It's extremely important for region with global implications. So for the very first day, we started our support in many domains, starting from a human approach, absorbing 8 million Ukrainians crossing the border, a few million still staying in Poland. Then we started, social programs, medical programs, education for them, and immediately we started preparation.
Hold on a second. For one thing, I can barely understand him because the audio is so bad. He's not on set.
He's on set. He's on set with his.
Well, how come it sounds like he's coming over a phone or something? Did he have a mic funny?
I can hear him. It got a lot of low end in his microphone. I don't know why, but it's okay. They'll have someone else come in. Just bear with it. It's worth it.
And immediately we started preparation and sending equipment, ammunition, and anything they need for victory.
For victory.
General, since the war began, Poland, the center of gravity of NATO and of the EU.
That's the word I was looking for. The center of gravity of NATO.
Since the war began, Poland, the center of gravity of NATO and of the EU seems to have moved east and to Poland. Basically, I mean, Poland is an increasingly incredibly important country now. How is that going down in Poland? How are Poles reacting to their new central place in Europe?
Well, you can feel every single day that the center of gravity from a historical Cold War time design moved from Germany to Poland, to Warsaw. And geostrategy matters, and also geography matters, and our aspirations of the Western civilization as well.
The center of gravity moved towards Poland. There's messaging in here that we don't yet understand.
Well, he specifically said Germany, didn't he? From Germany.
From Germany. Did he say Eastern Germany?
No, he just said Germany.
Every single day that the center of gravity from a historical Cold War time design moved from Germany to Poland.
From historical Cold War design from Germany to Poland, which is, by the way, more westward.
Curiously.
Still. There's messaging here that we're just not picking up on yet, but there's something about this.
We heard it.
Well, we heard it, but we don't get it yet. Maybe we should...
we have been discussing over the last 2 or 3 months how Germany's being cut out of the picture.
True.
And how they want to do one thing or another. And we also discussed the fact that little beer pooch that tried to take place, the beer hall pooch, by that nutball German guy who says he's trying to get around the fact that the Americans are being too influential in German politics and we're running the place.
The prince.
That sort of thing. Something's up with... the Germans aren't going to put up with this for long.
Well, the Germans... They have nothing but idiots in their cabinet who are one by one resigning or making weird moves. I think Germany already has fallen. The military stuff is unmaintained. It's crap. That they got rid of the woman by blaming her for wearing high heels. And saying inappropriate things like war is good or whatever she was doing. You're right. It's definitely a neutering of Deutschland. That is. But what do you have left if you neuter Deutschland?
You can't let Poland run things. I mean, what's interesting in this whole thing is that Hungary, which seems to be the best managed of all these countries, it just shuts up about the whole deal. They're backing up. We got nothing to do with nothing.
We like our gas.
You guys do your own thing. It's good. It's great.
There was.
I find it.
Yes.
It's weird. What we're observing is not easy to understand from our perspective. And we probably have as much, I don't know how anyone else could get any better than we are in terms of analysis.
Well, I'll give you one that we have figured out. This came from Deutsche Welle.
On Wednesday, Elon Musk's company SpaceX said that it is curbing use of its Starlink satellite communications service by the Ukrainian military. Apparently, Ukraine's use of Starlink to guide drone attacks against Russian forces is a no-go. The question is, why now? SpaceX sent thousands of Starlink terminals to Ukraine last year to provide internet communication. Now the company is saying that Starlink was, quote, never meant to be weaponized, and it's taken steps to limit its use with drones. Starlink relies on a network of satellites in low orbit around the Earth to provide wireless communication. Well, the Ukrainian government in Kyiv has condemned the decision by SpaceX, accusing the company of ignoring Ukraine's right to self-defense.
All right, so this story is true, but not for the reasons they imply. Elon is saying, hey, Starlink is not intended for military use because you need Star Shield. You see, they have the entire Starlink system rebranded as Star Shield, and you need to pay Star Shield for your military use, which is much more expensive. You're trying to get a free deal off of Starlink, which is for consumers. This was always a military system. And now SpaceX, I guess, is repositioning, saying, excuse me, we need to make money off of this too, military industrial complex. So Star Shield,
they want a piece of the action.
Yeah, well, they want their rightful action, which is what this whole thing was funded for in the first place. It's always been for military. You can't make something like that pay off with $100 a month for people with RVs. No, you can't make that thing pay off.
That part's a lost leader.
Yeah, you're sending tens of thousands of satellites into low orbit, and you think that a couple of yahoos with RVs and people who can afford $110 a month for internet, that's going to pay it back? No. And he beat him. He beat Google. He beat all those companies. He beat Jeff Bezos. Now, Bezos is dumb enough to think that he can sell it to consumers. And maybe he will. Did you see that they're now your pharmacy, Amazon?
They've never been my pharmacy.
Oh, man. So you can now order all your prescription drugs via Amazon. And I mean everything. And in typical Amazon fashion, you go, okay, let me get some Prozac. Prozac, $500 a month. If you get the generic, a month's supply, $3.99.
Well, now you're talking.
Yeah, I mean,
best price,
and this was supposed to be what's his face, the Mavericks guy. Come on.
The surfer?
No, Maverick, the basketball team. What's his name?
Oh,
Shark Tank boy, Shark Tank man,
Shark Tank boy,
Mark Cuban.
He
was going to do the cheap alternative pharmacy, and he just got priced right out. $3.99 for a month's supply of Prozac, generic. You kidding me? This is a bonanza. And what was I reading the other day? I was reading. Here it is. Psychologists may soon gain the authority to write prescriptions under a new legislative proposal. How about that? Your psychologist.
Oh, that's that. If I was a psychiatrist,
psychologist.
Yeah, I know. I said if I was a psychiatrist, I would make the biggest stink in the world about this.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And this is so that the telemedicine
psychologist is usually someone with a master's degree in sociology.
My sister Willow can write me a Prozac subscription. prescription.
Or a subscription.
If Amazon, it's a subscription.
It's always a subscription.
Typically, a psychiatrist prescribes medication, but is not involved in providing talk or other types of therapy. This is the BetterHelpNow.com lobby. BetterHelp.com, I think, is the name of the outfit where you can talk to they match you with a psychologist. And,
Hello.
Yes, and you can talk to them, and you don't have to show your face. It doesn't have to be on video. It can just be on a phone call, and then they're going to start prescribing you drugs. This is it. This is how the Democrat Party wins.
Yeah, get everyone all doped up. Why not?
Either party benefits from this, by the way. Everyone becomes so incredibly susceptible. It's great. It's great. Ah, man, the drugs in this country. Any drugs you want to look up? Any particular drug you need? Do you take any medication?
No, I can think of a few things, All
right.
Probably Adderall would be good for me.
Adderall, let's see. I can imagine you on Adderall. That'd be hilarious. All right, let's see.
Hey,
Adderall.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Let's see. Adderall. Okay. This is interesting. They have, so there's Adderall, $49.99 for a 60-count pack of one. Then there's Naderol XR with an N, $29.99 that's a 30 count. So it looks like your Adderall, you can be good for around $49 from Amazon.
Yeah, maybe.
And available on Amazon Prime. I mean, that's going to put a lot of kids out of the business in college of selling their Adderall.
Yeah, find something else to do. So while we're still in the Ukraine, this whole thing, I want to get this clip out of the way because this wasn't played much over here. Right. I get it from China. Mm-hmm. Official China.
Yeah.
This Ukraine, Russia, they're going to do something about these reactors. They don't want somebody bombing them by accident.
Russia says is ready to work with the International Atomic Energy Agency to create a safety zone around the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Russian officials and the International Atomic Energy Agency held a new round of consultations on cooperation in ensuring safety. The head of the nuclear facility's operator said Russia is providing comfortable social and living conditions for staff members and their families.
Of course, they're protecting it. They don't want to blow that up.
Well, they don't want the Ukrainians blowing it up and blaming them.
No, they don't want it blown up at all. They need to keep it because when this is all over, the power needs to be in the region. Is it actually still connected? Is it hooked up? Is it running? Do we know that?
They don't say.
No.
I think it is.
Well, because all we hear is how power is off in Ukraine.
They keep blowing up those substations with the missiles that they supposedly block.
There was a big
the great Patriot batteries that we have.
Big article in the Dutch newspapers about the Dutch detainees in jail, people who are prisoners. And as we know, everywhere prisoners are slaves. They perform slave services. The old joke of their they make license plates. While true. Outfits like IKEA contract directly with the Corrections Corporation of America, as an example, for them to make tables.
And hex wrenches.
Many hex wrenches. But now, so they interviewed some of these prisoners. They're happy and proud because now they're making wood-burning stoves for Ukrainians.
Yeah, I'm happy to be in jail making wood-burning stoves.
Yeah, well, at least I'm doing it for a good purpose and not just for corporations. It was a feel-good piece. And boy, did it. I think we can wrap this up with Zelensky, who is now a statesman of incredible and impeccable standing. And this is from Sky News. He was the first one to call in.
Yeah, just looking at Twitter, just seeing President Zelensky has just been tweeting, I extend my condolences to the President Erdogan, the people of Turkey and the families of those who lost their lives in the earthquake, and wish a speedy recovery to all the injured. We stand with the people in this difficult time, we are ready to provide the necessary assistance to overcome the consequences of this disaster. That's the latest that we're hearing from President Zelensky, and I'm sure other world leaders will begin to rally around very quickly.
Oh, yes, he's such humanitarian. Took time out of his busy day.
He's the go-to guy.
He is the go-to guy.
So I noticed in that report that they pronounced Turkey instead of Turkey.
Yeah, Turkey.
And I've decided I'm going to start pronouncing and spelling it correctly now because we do it with Deutschland.
Yeah.
And it's Turkey.
Turkey. Turkey. I thought it was Turkey. I thought it was Turkey.
Well, you can. It heads toward Turkey. Turkey.
I'm going to use the European pronunciation, which would be Turkey.
Well, whatever it is, I've noticed that Al Jazeera is pronouncing it correctly, and I have a report. I think they pronounce it in here. And CGTV is pronouncing it correctly. And also TN. The Chinese are pronouncing it correctly. And there's there's a distinct separation now of who's pronouncing it correctly and who's not. And people are very slowly moving over to the correct pronunciation and spelling, which is Turkiye.
But when you say correct, I mean, does that mean that Kyiv is correct? Since that is the official way. I mean,
well, you've got me in a corner now.
Yes, because you can't make jokes about Kyiv and ordering a chicken Kyiv.
I'm going to have chicken Kyiv.
Chicken Kyiv is not on the menu. I'm
pronouncing it Kyiv just because it's... But let's listen. This is the Turkey I already screwed it up. Turkey update from Al Jazeera, and you can hear the correct pronunciation within this report.
6 days after 2 devastating earthquakes hit Turkey and Syria, hopes of rescuing any more survivors from the rubble are beginning to fade. On a visit to the epicenter of one of the quakes, the UN aid chief Martin Griffiths said it was the worst event to hit the region for 100 years. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said steps will be taken to rebuild broken cities within weeks. He's denied accusations that building codes were not properly enforced. Meanwhile, tens of thousands are without shelter across Turkey and Syria, and many are sleeping out in the cold. Turkish state media report 48 people have been arrested for looting. In total, more than 29,000 people are now known to have died. More than 24,000 of those were in Turkey and more than 4,500 in Syria. But that figure is expected to rise.
Now, is because it was northwestern Syria, isn't that where the beautiful the vacation spot is in Syria?
I don't know that for a fact.
Is it Idlib?
Possibly.
I want to say Idlib. I have to take a look. But 25,000 people dead. That's
29.
29. Well, however they're counting that.
Well, I do have two, if you want to, before we take our break, I do have two more clips about Turkey.
Yeah, sure.
And it's about the building codes, which is not being covered here, but I brought it up on a previous show, which is there's a building code problem in some of these earthquake areas. They're not building these buildings correctly. They have earthquakes of this magnitude elsewhere, and the whole place doesn't fall apart, and building doesn't sit there for 1 minute, and you get to film it collapsing completely, pancaking.
Did you see any of the
building number 3?
Did you see any of the aerial footage of the rip in the earth? I mean, it's like biblical proportions. This thing is like holy crap!
It's a biblical area. Yes, so let's listen to these two. I got two clips.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Turkquake building codes arrest. This is from Al Jazeera again.
Turkish police have detained 12 people over collapsed buildings in the southeastern provinces of Gaziantep and Sanliurfa. Those taken into custody included building contractors. Asad Beg has more now from Istanbul.
Now, we're hearing around 12 people have been detained about the construction of these buildings. Now, 2 of those here in Istanbul. Now, one of those individuals, Mehmet Joshkun, he is responsible for the construction of a 12-story building in Hatay, which had around 250 apartments. Now, that building came down during the earthquake. Now, he was detained at Istanbul airport. He was getting ready to leave for Montenegro. He had some cash on him, which was confiscated by authorities. Now, in his indictment, which has been leaked to the media here, he says that his buildings follow the regulations, that he doesn't know why the building came down, that he has other buildings that are still standing, and that he had followed those regulations. But the public prosecutor has also put out detention orders on 29 other individuals surrounding the construction of buildings. Now, questions are being asked of the government here around those building regulations and the standards of construction. Now, back in 2018, there was an amnesty around those building regulations, and in some cases, people just paid a fine. And experts had warned about those standards in the event of an earthquake. Now, those questions continue to remain, and the government denied that building regulations were ignored. But this question will continue to remain as the weeks and months go on.
Yeah, I mean, you see the video. It's like, yeah, man, that the pancaking is actually really annoying. I mean, yeah. you've seen earthquakes. It's rarely a straight down pancaking.
No, usually the thing tips over.
Tips over, yeah.
Well, here's part 2 of this building codes clips. And this is, again, not being covered. This is important because at least the Turks know there's liability issues here, but then they don't know how deep it goes. But people should be aware of the fact that there are building codes in earthquake zones. In the United States, we have them in California. And there's inspections there are inspectors involved. There are governments involved. This is a lot of involvement here on this. It's going to shake out, and it's going to end up with a lot of people in jail. Part 2.
Well, earlier we spoke to Solly Ozel, a professor at Kadir Has University. He says investigating building contractors could unveil a much larger chain of violations.
Obviously, these contractors, first of all, they're innocent until proven guilty, but they may have not followed the regulations to the letter, and that would be their responsibility. But they are not the only ones who would be responsible if such is the case, because they are those who approve those plans. They are those who are supposed to inspect those plans. There are people who give them the permits, are also co-conspirators, if you will, should this be proven to be correct, that they have not followed to the letter the regulations that exist. Building codes or our tender codes have changed over 150 times in the past 20 years. There had been quite a number of amnesties, and of course, all that made cheating actually a very valuable thing, because then you make a lot of money, you don't follow the code, and then you actually pay a little penalty perhaps, and then you get away with it. And right now, you get away with murder, literally.
Well, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, especially for these pancake buildings.
Wow. I mean, there's a million people homeless. There's children. They don't even know the children's name.
It's a mess.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Yeah, I think I have one thing here, and then we can take our break. I thought I had one. This is a general report from CBS Weekend.
They painstakingly pick through the rubble, desperately searching for survivors. Then their worst fear. One emergency worker was moderately injured, the rest unharmed. Unimaginable luck in a place with so little. In hard-hit Adana, babies and small children received treatment at a hospital in the southeastern city. Most were plucked from the ruins by rescue workers, but lost in the chaos were their names. With no one yet to claim them, the fear now is the earthquake has robbed these babies of their parents and quite possibly their identities too. We know what area she was found in and how she got here, Dr. Kesslin says, but don't have any address. For other survivors, they grieve for those they've lost wherever they've been buried, as more and more fresh graves are dug up in anticipation of mass burials. The scale of Monday's 7.8 magnitude quake and its many aftershocks continue to defy comprehension. So too do the numbers. At least 6,000 buildings have collapsed, 900,000 people need urgent shelter, and around 5 million have been displaced from their homes. Aid has come in from 45 countries, including the U.S., but for badly hit Syria, just 2 convoys have made it into northwestern Idlib province, the last remaining rebel-held territory in a country deeply scarred by over a decade of civil war. It's a grinding conflict 6-year-old Musa was born into. He was found after 4 days trapped under the rubble in the southern town of Jandaris. In his short life, Musa has survived war and now this earthquake. But with so little help on the way, it's hard to know what future, if any, he has.
Wow. So, not to be ghoulish about it, but we do have to look now at, geopolitically, what does this mean? So the pipelines, I think, are destroyed, which had Russian oil, not gas. Erdogan, someone needs to come in and start helping, rebuilding. Erdogan will probably have to start making some concessions. The lira is already overinflated and it's pretty much worthless from where 90% down from its value a couple of years back. He's holding back the entrance of Finland and Sweden into NATO. So it's just a bad coincidence, or this is happening right now when he had a very strong position, and now he has almost no position unless he wants to come across as a horrible person. And Diana Sosoaka, who is a Turkish senator, or is it Turkish senator?
They still say Turkish.
They say Turkish. She claimed in her speech, which I have seen, and the translation sounded right. She says this earthquake was directed. So just want to put that out there. She may be a nut job. Oh, wait a minute! Breaking! We got a breaking report here from the keeper. Apparently, another object has been spotted over Lake Huron. It has been shot down, according to Twitter. So another object. Wow, we're live. 4th balloon. It's right over Chicago.
Well,
we're under attack, John.
That's Lake Michigan. Lake Huron's really in Canada.
Okay. Well, we're under attack. It says Mars attacks. The script is rolling.
The worst movie ever.
I love that movie. It's my favorite movie. Wasn't it a song you had to play? What song was it they played that made their heads explode?
I forgot.
Oh, man. Well, with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage. Say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in the CGTN, China Global Television Network News. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to my friend on the other end, Mr. John C. DeVore.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea. Boots on the ground, subs in the air, subs in the water, just feet in the air, all the days and nights out there.
The balloons in the air. And in the morning to the trolls in the troll room who have been hanging out there at trollroom.io. Now we've added some instructions if you need more information on how to register for the troll room. Right there, trollroom.io is where you can find out, learn everything you need to, and also listen to the show live and jump right into the chat room. Or you can always use one of those brand new apps. You can find it at newpodcastapps.com. Podverse is the one I've been using for my bat signal, along with now we have Podcast Addict does it. You get a notification, you tap it, it's in the podcast app. We have your podcast. You go right in, you can listen to the stream, you can jump into the troll room and communicate right away. And all kinds of fun new stuff. And let's see how many trolls are in there right now. Well. 2,268.
Huh.
I'd say that's pretty good.
That's a reasonable number. That's pretty average. It was about the same. I think it was 23 last Sunday, but the down, I thought it'd be a lot less because I thought maybe some of these trolls, but I guess not, would be watching pre-Super Bowl stuff, which is going to... Game begins at...
Are you kidding me? No, they could be, and we may have had more at the beginning of the show, but once we gave our tips, are who's going to win.
The predictions.
Okay, predictions. They're calling their bookies. They got other things to do.
They're calling their. You think that anyone in the troll room, those guys, have bookies?
I wouldn't put it past them. They are trolls. Some of them may be bookies. Who knows?
Well, that's always possible.
Big thanks to Correct the Record, who brought us the artwork for episode 1528. We titled that one Habitat, which was thanks to Amy Goodman's pronunciation of habitat. All caps is... people didn't say much about the title, but they love the artwork, which was Fred Cruz.
Yeah.
It was Ted Flintstone. It was Fred Flintstone, only now Fred Cruz, clearly in Bedrock. If you haven't seen it, it's such a great piece. And we looked at a number of pieces that were available to us, and you can check that out for yourself at noagendaartgenerator.com. Go look at what the artists are putting in there. They're doing that in real time while they're listening to us. And we choose from it right after the show, right after we're done. We try not to make it the same as the title of the show, but we do choose the art first. And let's see what we had. Now, the one you liked right off the bat was Microsoft Barf by Tonta Neal, which was a nice piece, no agenda, with the squares, which represented Microsoft, although it was Google, but it's okay. We probably said that wrong. But then having Clippy there was pretty obscure, and also the text was so small that that just doesn't work on these pieces.
I don't know which one this is.
It's at the bottom of the first page right now.
Oh.
Bottom right. All the way at the bottom.
I'm going.
Yeah, scroll. Are you there?
Oh, yeah, I did like that piece.
Yeah, told you.
It did have... And Clippy is the originator of this whole thing. I think this is how far it's going to get, by the way. Clippy was annoying.
Clippy. Well, Microsoft Bob was was before Clippy, wasn't he?
I think they came in. This was the moment that they thought this was a good idea. They also had this little dog. Remember the little dog? Instead, you could have a dog instead of Clippy.
Oh, yeah. I do remember the little dog. What was the dog's
wag
name?
its tail and ask you questions. You sure you want to do it that way?
Hey, don't forget about me, Zippy.
Yeah, Zippy. We know.
So Clippy was annoying, and the dog was annoying, and Microsoft Bob, which I liked Microsoft Bob as a children's operating system to get kids involved in computers, because my son at the time, JC, Buzzkill Jr., I think he was like 7 at the time, or when the Microsoft Bob came out. I'd have to open up the wiki page to get the exact dates. But he was jacked up about it. He was using this machine all the time. He developed a bunch of software that worked within the Microsoft Bob environment, but they kept trying to sell it to adults.
Was there? Then it was around the same time we had the Microsoft Comic Chat.
I think that came later.
Okay, that came well.
But they've had this idea. They think adults are dolts.
Adults.
Mm-hmm. But Microsoft Bob was a cool product when JC showed it to me, and he showed me all the intricacies of it. And as a kid, it was like, wow, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I was a big fan of Microsoft Bob, but not to replace Windows. I mean, what are they thinking? And they would never promote it to kids as a kid operating system. They just wouldn't deal with it.
Well, at least that kind of worked. I mean, Cortana, which I never understood as a brand name, and Cortana,
it's named after a small Toyota.
Cortana is the first thing you need to disable on your Windows because it sucks up resources.
It does. I got rid of it. Yeah.
More artwork we looked at was, let's see, we had Explosive New Details, Bombshell. It was still a lot of balloon stuff. I kind of liked Tonta Neal's Hang Up the Adidas, with the 2 Adidas sneakers hanging off the G of Agenda, which I liked it because it was clean, but it really, nothing paled in comparison to, or everything paled in comparison to Fred Cruz. I mean, that was my misstating his name. And it just and that is his name now, by the way, is Fred Cruz. I mean, from
Fred Cruz.
forevermore, just like it's Janet Yeltsin.
Yeltsin.
This is what we do on the show. Yeltsin. So yeah, I mean, it was just pretty clear. What else was there? We had.
I like "Let's Go Brandon" from Tantanil too, but that was never going to get picked.
No. Do you have a buzz in your microphone today? By the way.
No, shouldn't be.
Let me hear. Something going. I can hear. It sounds like something in the background. Maybe.
Also, the whores.
Yeah, the whores. The whores. Whores is not going to make our artwork, though.
No, it's not going to. But comic strip bloggers' whores were quite good.
He's in Poland. That's where all the good whores are.
Hookers and cows. No, they're all in Ukraine.
They really knocked me out. Thank you very much to all of our artists for participating. We see that you already have put up a lot of things in anticipation of what we will like or what topics we will be discussing, or topics we have discussed. You can watch this in real time. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com, or indeed, we publish a lot of these pieces of art in chapters. If you get one of those modern podcast apps, and why aren't you already using one? And so you can see all of this. It's a lot. It's beautiful work, and we're so happy that we have our artists to do this, because it truly is value for value. They like the value that we give them through doing the program itself, and they return that as best they can. And even if we don't use it, it's value to us just for doing it, and we appreciate that. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com. Now, you can also check us out at our social network, which is a Mastodon instance, noagendasocial.com. A couple things I wanted to mention about it today. We have a limited number of spots, so we try to keep it around 10,000, the number of people that are in there. We're blocked by hundreds, if not close to 1,000 Mastodon instances who just hate our free speech policy. Freeze peach, by the way. And we have a few policies ourselves, and I'd like to mention one specifically. If you have something to say, post it publicly. This is not intended to be a DM network. And I get this a lot. People, and I have to look at every posting now to make sure it's not a DM. If you want, this is for public discourse, for conversation. And then there's this other thing. There's a style of question that I'm very irked about. You may have seen this. And it goes like this. Why haven't you spoken at all about Julian Assange? I find that interesting.
It's actually the second part of it that makes it funny.
Yes.
Yeah, I find interesting.
You haven't spoken about that. Why? And I wanted to remind everybody of our mission statement. We deconstruct media if the media is not talking about it. And we search pretty far and wide to find media that talks about topics. It's hard for us to deconstruct the media. But yet people then make this, and it irks me, and I know I shouldn't get that mad.
And we're not here to get Julian out. I mean, that should have been... just to actually get into the politics of it.
Yeah, please.
That should have been done by Trump.
Yeah. But, it's like, you never talk about it ever. So, no, we mention it all the time. In fact,
we've talked about Julian Assange.
No, but you'll say, yeah, but meanwhile, Julian Assange is rotting away. You'll say that many times.
I mentioned him and Martha Stewart.
In the same breath, which by itself is a problem. Anyway. We deconstruct media. We do the best we can. We try to help you navigate your way through this amygdala-altering world of bull crap, also known as news, which is not. And they're all in. Everyone. They're all doing it. They're all
worldwide.
Yeah, right. All right. Let's thank our executive and associate executive producers first and foremost, who get the title. It's a forever title for that. For supporting us at $200 or $300 subsequently. And we'll take it all the way through our other producers up until $50 because it's, January was light and we're still in the light days of January, it now being February. And I don't know. I mean, maybe this is just the new normal. We believe we're still providing good value. We hope you feel that way as well. So please consider supporting the show so that we can continue to do it as we have done for 15 years without creepy corporate money and advertisers and anything of the like. And we thank right off the bat Sir Sorted Out from Houston, Texas, who does come in with a mega boob donation, $800.80. That's a max boob.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work, he says. Sir Sorted Out. I'll take it. If he had done 85 cents, it would have been even better, but it doesn't matter. We understand what you're saying, Sir Sorted Out, and thank you.
Sir Code Monkey's next, and he's in Renner, South Carolina, and he has an even shorter note. It's Sir Code Monkey, Baron of Data, and he says, no note.
Beautiful, Sir Code Monkey. Thank you. Sir Fat Dad is in North Little Rock, Arkansas, and comes in with the same 333.33 with a switcheroo towards the wife Shonda's future damehood. Okay, so we'll put Shonda in there. Just Shonda, I guess.
Shonda.
He says, it's BMX plate season, so I'm flush with cash. Enjoy some of my treasure. Oh, he has some jingles here, which I think I look up. He wants to stop the hammering and the no.
Stop the hammering!
No.
Okay, got it. What is BMX? What is BMX plate season? I'm not quite sure what that means.
I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, maybe someone in the troll room will tell us, because probably something, because he's got some money to give us. Cameron Warren does too, and he's in Cordova, Illinois, 333, and he says, no jingles, thanks for the work.
Goodness, this is great. We're light on everything,
so
including words.
Good.
It'll do. Then we move on to James Nelson, Niagara Falls, New York. No note that, and 333. That means it's a double up karma for you.
You've got karma.
And that's the end of our executive producers, and we go on to the associates with Dame Slammy in Bastrop, Texas.
Oh.
ITM, gents, happy VD, Valentine's Day. Yak karma for everybody. She comes in with $222.22, a row of ducks.
Yo, you got it.
You've got karma.
Then we have Dame Rachel, Punta Gorda, Florida, 214.23. That is our special Valentine's Day show donation. And she gives an appropriate message. I love you, Shots. SCHATZ, Shots. That's for her love, clearly. Wow, beautiful. Dame Rachel, thank you.
Surmounted, that's funny.
That's
surrounded by idiots.
Surmounted is a good one to have, though.
Surrounded by idiots in Forsyth, Missouri. Another 214.23. So as far as I'm concerned, the promotion worked.
Successful promotion. Good job.
Heil, comrades.
Heil.
This donation is first and foremost a Valentine's Day shout out to my beautiful wife, Dame Tammy Collins. Highway Star, love you, baby.
Well read. Nice read. Nice read.
I think the read was something wrong with it. Okay, well, anyway, I'll just continue. Also, I wanted to say I was proud after my last donation that the next show was named after something I had said, which was that our president should ingest a satchel of Richards.
Yes.
Also, a couple of shows ago, I was driving and not in the troll room, but he's a troll. But I was screaming at the radio that you had the wrong Tim Tebow for jingles. Okay, I think the wrong Tim Tebow. We did. And I think
we did. We had, and
we've been reminded enough.
Right, but the troll room failed. There was a troll room fail.
Yeah, it was a troll room fail. That's what they're there for.
Yeah.
For jingles, I guess I just need a yak karma for some Kansas City Chiefs to win. Or for the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. My pick is Kansas City 30-17. Thanks. Love you guys and all you do. It's a reliable source of information. 50,000 unstoppable watts. Anthrax, ham radio, and liquor.
You got it.
You've got karma.
By the way, good thoughts and karma for Darren O'Neill, who did not do the rock and roll pre-show this morning. It was wasn't feeling too good.
What was wrong? Does he have the COVID?
No, I think he had the AFib, heart rhythm issue.
Oh,
I think people suffer from that. So, and sometimes it happens, and I think he might have to go to the hospital when that happens. Emergency room.
Well, let's hope that he gets back on track here.
Yeah, although, Fletcher did a good job with his crew there, but still, can't karma for Darren. And of course, we don't have any, sexy art today from him either, I guess.
No, but that's fine.
Ron Sherman.
Got tons of art.
Ron Sherman is in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Also, Valentine's Day donation, $214.23. First-time donor, no longer a boner, part-time stoner. Well, I'm going to de-douche you for that one.
You've been de-douched.
Clicking around on PayPal and went right past the comment section. Yes. Thanks to Lisa and Scott Adams for hitting me in the mouth. I doubt who knows? Ron Sherman, Colorado Springs. Thank you, Ron. All right. Lisa and Scott Adams. Who knows?
Yeah, who knew?
Crazy times.
So now we have David Ingram from Yarra Junction, Australia, for $214.23, and it finishes off our promotion. But then he says something was cut off. But this is dedicated, obviously, to his smoking hot wife, Carrie Rollins. Have an awesome day, babe. Love, David.
Ooh. Anonymous in Guelph, Ontario, $200 as a Scandinavia. Sorry for the late donation. Been listening to you guys for about 3 years. I'm a Joe Doe. You guys are great, especially Adam's analysis on the current political atmosphere. Keep up the God's work, heroes. Looking forward to being a knight. As are we. Bring it.
Scott McCrossan in... there's a town named Tegakay in South Carolina.
Possibly,
I guess so.
Possibly, yeah.
$200. Keep exposing the M5M.
Well, they expose themselves. We just tell you what to do with it.
And that's the whole list of associate and executive producers and executive producers, associate executive producers, and everything in between, including the promotion. I want to thank them for making the show work. And now we're going to continue by naming what's a few leftover people that donated lesser amounts in order of the amount, starting with Echo Prafka Marson in Lansing, Michigan. Put some house buying karma at the end for him, $100. Bernard Alderman in Hilliard, Ohio, 100. Ross Rebich in Kennewick, Washington. Hi, gents, please put Ty Rebich on the birthday list. You got it. Sir Sean in Moyock, North Carolina. Josh Wilson in Farmington, New Mexico. And then you give some jobs karma at the end. And he's got a birthday or a Valentine's Day call out to his smoking hot wife, Nicole. Hi, Nicole. Daphne Lee in Las Vegas, Nevada. $100. Thomas Kilbride, $85 from Waco, Texas. Sir Kevin McLaughlin, Locust, North Carolina. The 132nd 8008 donation.
Woo!
Whittler of Wessex in Yeovil, I guess.
Yeovil,
6969. He's in the UK. Ryan Tierney in Stephen City, Virginia. Thank you for your encouragement. 6543. Sir Jimmy in Summerfield, North Carolina. That's 6006. Small boob.
Can I just say something about him?
Yes.
He makes jet boats. I think it's the URL is riverratjetboats.com. These are so cool. If I was into boats, I'd want one. Dynamite little craft.
Keith Dowling's next, and he's in Montville, Maine. $60. Tom Dari in DeForest, Wisconsin. Sir Tom, 5510. Edward Tatnall in Indianapolis, Indiana. 5188. Eric Asness in Lawndale, California. 5150. James Green in Eflin, North Carolina. 5150, and he has a douchebag call out for Travis. Douchebag. Jamie Buell in Vista, California, 5014. And a happy Valentine's Day to John from your soon-to-be damed wife. Jamie is a woman. Jamie. Will Capps in Hewitt, Texas. de-douching necessary. $50.
You've been de-douched.
And the following people are all $50 donators. That was Will Capps. Then we go on to Megan Carlotta in Galloway, Ohio. And she needs a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Mama Bear in Colchester, UK, 50. David Schwindinger in Woodbridge, Virginia. Gary Mao in Woodland Hills. Michael Wendell in Matawan, New Jersey. Margaretha Aidenhood in Orangevale. She almost comes in every show. Bill McCutcheon in Briarcliff, Texas. We're going to give him some special legal karma for his son at the end, along with the other karmas. We had a bunch of them there backed up. Corey Cunningham in Warrenton, Virginia. And last but not least, Gavin McGoldrick in San Francisco, California. These people all helped us on this show, 1529.
Yes, and we have a name change note, which I think we missed on the last show, from George Wichette from Lavernia, Texas. In the morning, gents, it's been a while since contributing my regular monthly donation. I'm glad to say I'm back on the V for V wagon. During my absence, my family and I bought a new house, and now my knight name is no longer accurate, which was Sir Labrat, Knight of the Texas Hill Country. If it pleases the peerage committee, please like to henceforth be known as Sir Labrat, Knight of the Texas Post Oak Savannah. I think that's okay. You're closer to the peerage committee, so is it okay?
No, that's fine. Post Oak's a great area.
It's fine. Approved. There you go. So thank you very much for everybody for you supporting the best podcast in the universe. Our executive and associate executive producers who are allowed to keep those titles forever. You can place them anywhere. Titles are accepted. Because go to IMDb. You'll see what I'm talking about. Just look for it. And thank you for supporting us. Everybody all the way up to 50, as we just mentioned. Under 50 as well. Usually not mentioned or never mentioned for reasons of anonymity. And also people are on some of our sustaining donations, which we encourage you to do by going to our website, which will be changing. It's just changing a little bit. Don't get too crazy now.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Here's the karma for your legal karma as requested.
You've got karma.
Thank you all very much for supporting episode 1529 of the No Agenda Show.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth. Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave. It's your birthday. Oh, no agenda.
And here is the birthday list for today. It being February 12th, 2023. M of the Mid-Valley wishes his wife, Dame Drea, Mad Dame of the Mid-Valley, a belated birthday. Uh-oh. That was on February 11th. Oh, we didn't have her show. Okay, understandable. Ross Rebich wishes Ty Rebich a happy birthday, turning 20 on the 15th. Then we have Valentine's Day shout-outs, surrounded by idiots, to his beautiful wife, Dame Tammy Collins. We heard that. Josh Wilson to his smoking hot wife, Nicole. And Jamie Buell to her husband, John Buell. We just like putting those in the birthday segment for some reason. Happy birthday, happy Valentine's Day from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. No title changes, no knightings or damings today. Let that sink in for a moment. Soak in that for a minute, everybody. Please.
No agenda. Meet up.
We do have some meetups to talk about, and we had two meetup reports come in. The first one from Sir Jake, who, as we recall, started a meetup as he was stationed for longer than he expected in Guam.
This is Sir Jake coming to you from Guam in the famous Horse and Cow Bar and Grill. I'm here surrounded by lots of awesome submarine memorabilia and pictures of John and Adam, but that's about it. Nobody else was able to show up, but I had a good time, ate a steak, had a drink. Next time, hopefully more people can come out.
Oh, man. It was just our heads and him. Oh, thanks, Sir Jake. Appreciate it.
Quite a sight.
Yeah, sitting there eating a steak with our heads on sticks.
Where was this? Where was
Guam.
this?
Guam.
Oh, Guam.
At the base
He
there.
needs to go hit more people in the mouth.
He always hits people in the mouth. And then we had a meetup, which was an emergency meetup in Australia. It was Sir Brian of London. And I believe he had Sir Chris there as well, old friend of the show.
It's Brian of London here, and I am in Sydney with a bunch of No Agenda Nights. I was here for the court case. I will update you at some further point, but we didn't win, we didn't lose, we don't know. Judgment is reserved. Anyway, thank you very much. This is the No Agenda meetup at the Gasoline Pony. All right, I'm going to pass you around.
Sir Chris, in the morning.
In the morning. This is Nathan. I have nothing to report. And Phil, the unknighted knight.
That's it. That's the meetup report. Bye-bye.
There you go. There's Sir Brian suing Facebook. He's been suing Facebook for how many years? Must be 6 or 7 years now. No, he promises to make us millionaires if he wins. So, that woke John up. Hey, everybody. Here are meetups on the schedule for Wednesday. The North Idaho Sanity Brigade will meet at 5 o'clock at the Flat Stack Pub in Spokane, Washington. Also on Wednesday, the Fort Wayne Red Pillars Club 33, 6:33 Eastern at the Zianos Italian Eatery. That's on DuPont Road in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So we got all kinds of meetups in Indiana. It's an interesting group of people down there. Next show day on the 16th, the No Agenda meetups are for lovers. 6:30 Mountain, Lincoln's Roadhouse, Denver, Colorado. We have Charlotte's Thursday monthly meetup, 7 o'clock Eastern, Ed's Tavern in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we have, the list for February, the rest of February and March is nuts. I do want to mention the 17th of February in Leiden, the Netherlands. Let's see what other, we have Toronto on the list. We have Gelderland, the Netherlands in March, Wageningen. I mean, there's a lot. We are bad. We are worldwide, and we're proud of it. These are the No Agenda meetups. They are entirely producer organized and supported. You can do that through noagendameetups.com. And no matter who you think you are or what you think you are, or if you think you'll fit in, you will fit in because you are a part of the No Agenda community. We're misfits. We're nut jobs. We're introverts, but we are a group. We're together. And connection is protection. Go to noagendameetups.com. If you can't find one, start one yourself.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
I think I have one ISO. I really phoned it in for it today. Let me see. Where is it? Blech. I phoned it in, man. I phoned it in. What can I say?
Gas bag. I don't have anything good. Here, I got two, though.
You talked right over it. Here it comes.
Gas bag.
See? No. What do you have?
Well, I can't help much. I got weird.
Anything is possible!
What?
I don't even know what that was.
Oh, it was weird.
Yeah, very weird. It was 5 seconds.
Okay. 4 on my clip list. Who do you think you are?
Now, who the hell do you think that you are?
I'll take that one. I'll take it. It's good enough.
Now you're the guy with the ear. Who was that?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No.
I have no idea.
It's close, though. It was the other one.
Boebert.
Yes.
You're the guy with the ear. Did I tell you that after my procedure, I have not worn my hearing aids for weeks now?
Wait a minute.
Yep.
After you're talking about your teeth?
Yep. Yeah. So, you may not remember, but we found out that I had low-level infection right by my molars, which was right underneath my my sinuses, and all those years that I thought I had allergies, it turns out it was this infection, and that would clog it up, and that it's all connected to the ears. And I'm scheduling my audiology report because we can compare it to the previous one, but I haven't worn. I don't even think about my hearing aids. I'm cured.
Well, this is an interesting turn of events.
Yeah. I hear more high end. I don't have my volume up as high.
I don't even. This is disgusting.
What
is wrong with the medical community? They can't tell us get vaxxed, whatever you do. It doesn't work, but get the vax, and then they can't even identify something like this.
Well, it was the medical community who identified it. Was my periodontist. But I mean, and he saw it immediately. He did a scan. It's a CT scan. It's kind of a cool machine. You hold on to it like you're you stand in it, and you have two handles like you're in some like Universal Studios theme park ride. And then the thing descends over your head and turns around.
Yeah,
and then you can slice and dice right through your head. And he said, "Oh, look at all this." I know. I said,
what a mess!
Look how small the brain is. No, he said, "Look at all this infection. That's right here by this tooth and that tooth." And I feel physically better because my body's not fighting this infection. Oral hygiene, people, it's important. Get one of those.
It's quite good. It's a good story. It's a good lesson.
It's a very good.
Now
lesson.
you mentioned Tina earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Because she came in to tell you about the news, breaking news. Do you remember? I'm going to just have you, after this clip, remember, why is she called Tina the Keeper? I think people out there want to know.
Oh, I can tell you exactly why.
Well, don't have to tell me. Before you tell me, I want you to listen to this clip because it kind of gives a clue, a disgusting clue, I might add, as to why she's called Tina the Keeper. This is the Nikki Bella, the twins that used to wrestle. And she went to Paris. This is some TikTok thing. And she has 10 million followers. Hello.
Wow.
And listen to this.
When it comes to Paris, it just brings out these fashionistas and Brie and I. We always play on like 2 or 3 outfits a day. I feel like it's so disrespectful to the French people to walk around not looking good. Yeah.
How many suitcases did you have to bring?
So for me, I think I brought 12.
Okay. Yes, this is exactly the area of expertise that Tina Curry has, and that gave her the moniker, the Keeper. When we were on our way to Chicago, or maybe we were already in Chicago, to meet her sisters, so we had been together for a bit, and I remember saying on the show, John, this woman is able to pack both of us in a very small suitcase. And you said, she's a keeper.
Yes. If you do a lot of traveling with women, you get somebody like this Nikki Bella who packs 12 suitcases to go to Paris so she can change 3 times a day. Here's the problem with this kind of thinking. First of all, you're going to look like an American dummy no matter what you pack and drag to Paris.
Yes.
Because these are American clothes. What you do is go with no suitcases and you buy all your clothes in Paris. I guess some people have never been there before, don't realize that it's a shopper's paradise with department stores everywhere that have some of the greatest looking stuff you've ever seen in your life. And it's all over the place. And it's not expensive. And you shop there. If you want to bring back 10 suitcases because you bought that many clothes in Paris, then that makes some sense to me. But to go to Paris with American clothing so you can look good, you look like an idiot.
10 million followers?
Yeah.
No wonder they're blowing money in Paris. Yeah, we're doing it wrong.
Yeah, we're doing it legally.
2 clips here from the limited hangout. It's a limited hangout, everybody. The outrage in Congress, the Oversight Committee, bitching and moaning about the FBI and how they were controlling social media. Like, what? Here's a little mini cut.
House Republicans aired their grievances against Twitter yesterday.
Is the House just going to look like all they're doing is a consistent grievance train?
Grievance train. I mean, they're adding to their grievance train for sure.
This will no doubt be an airing of grievances. This kicks off at 11.
You know, they just want an airing of the grievances. Yeah. It's a little Festivus.
An airing of grievances and conspiracy theories and making a bet that the American people cares
at all about Hunter Biden and his laptop in business dealings.
The first GOP-led hearing on the so-called weaponization of government committee, it turned into an airing of partisan grievances.
House Republicans proving their goals for the next 2 years have little to do with delivering legislative results for the American people. Instead, it appears their true mission is to investigate their foes and air their grievances.
In between Marjorie Taylor Greene's whining and Lauren Boebert, Republicans spent their time, airing their personal grievances.
I'm also deeply troubled by the idea of Congress, as I said in my opening statement, using oversight as a weapon to air a list of political grievances.
It's just been an airing of grievances, of debunked claims and conspiracy theories. I think most folks watching back home are having a hard time following some of what y'all are saying because it's to go so far down the rabbit hole.
This was beautiful watching all of these news models doing most of this yesterday with the same script, the airing of grievances. So they literally will not address what is being said and just blow it off like as we said they would. And this whole Congressional Oversight Committee is only for podcasts to bitch about, some bad radio shows. You see, it was true. FBI was doing this. No one cares. They are ignoring it. They will not get to the American people because that is the message. This is the smoking gun of the entire M5M being full of shit, completely full. And I'm going to prove it.
A stinky gun, too.
Yes, very stinky. I'm going to play a part of the opening statement from an retired FBI agent. Their names are all Baker for some reason. If you're in the FBI and you retire, your name's Baker. This guy, and you should watch the whole thing. I just took 2 minutes of it. He was an agent for 30 years, and a lot of former CIA and all intelligence personnel who have been there a long time, they can't believe what has happened to their CIA, but most importantly, their FBI. And listen to this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Americans have lost faith in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, an institution they once regarded as the world's greatest law enforcement agency. I spent 33 years in the FBI and have continued to be closely engaged with the Bureau since my retirement. I am deeply troubled by this loss of faith, not only because of the challenge and danger it presents to our nation, but personally, it breaks my heart.
My heart!
Specific lapses will be looked into by this panel, but the big issue is, why did they happen? What changed? And what should be done? Culture is where it starts. This widespread deleterious behavior of the past several years describes a culture, not just the work of a few bad apples. Robert Mueller, when he was the FBI director, set out deliberately to change the culture of the FBI from a law enforcement agency to an intelligence-driven agency. That had bad and unintended consequences. And the difference is this. In law enforcement, you spend every day, consciously or unconsciously, waiting for that day to come when you're going to raise your right hand before a judge or before a jury and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's quite different than an intelligence agency that operates through deceit and deception, and their end product is an estimate. Some would call it a best guess. Guesses aren't allowed in the courtroom. Past reforms, like the Church and Pike committees, were necessary. This present subcommittee is a step in the right direction. Hopefully, its work will be bipartisan, because the abuses of an intelligence-driven FBI threaten the liberty of those on the left as well as those on the right. In 1978, after the Church Committee revelations, reforms were undertaken. The FBI and the DOJ enacted a series of Attorney General guidelines for conducting investigations. The Congress gave us the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Now, however, the use of FISA against U.S. citizens, as seen in the Carter Page case, has presented a threat to American civil liberties. FISA suspends the Constitution.
Yeah, and he just went on and on. So there was some real valid stuff in there.
He was good, that guy.
Yeah, and I'd like to respond to a troll comment, and we hear this a lot. It typically goes like this: Curry and the Dvorak won't tell you that it is the Zionist globalists who control the media because they're afraid that the Zionist globalists will kill them. It's irrelevant who's running it. What's relevant is that people still listen to it. So stop wasting your time calling out the Jews and hit people in the mouth to listen to our show. You were going to say?
There's no evidence of any of that. By the way, this Baker guy, the whole thing, I've watched a lot of this. As you see, how many clips do I have? None.
No, 0.
I have 0 clips about it because it's a lot of good stuff. I mean, I do have the one ISO clip that we use with the
Which I like. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. But it's really makes it makes you itch when you listen to the Baker says that I like to be partisan, nonpartisan. It's very partisan. The Democrats all come up and say, no, this is bull crap. You guys are just picking on these poor people and you shouldn't do it. It's ridiculous to listen to the Democrats, and Raskin being one of the worst of them.
Yeah.
And then to listen to many of the Republicans other than Boebert and Green. They have some good questions. It's very interesting and somewhat entertaining. There's one a U.S. Representative from Rhode Island. I don't have his name, but he did make the interesting comment, which is a throwback comment, kind of a callback to, I think it was Swan or one of the old whistleblowers from back in the day. Don't talk to the FBI. He says, I wouldn't talk to the FBI if they called me. No. You can't trust them.
No, but a lot of what I'm seeing is it's interesting. You can see, and I don't have these clips, but Matt Walsh was at state, I think in Tennessee, and he was being questioned because they want to. How was it? He wants to shut down children being transitioned.
Female genital mutilation.
In the Tennessee hospital. And so there you have the Democrat state senator saying, what qualification do you have as a medical doctor, Mr. Matt Walsh? And then you hear during this FBI, the oversight committee asking the Twitter lady, what qualifications do you have as a medical doctor? I mean, it's the same thing. It's all it is to get on television with a soundbite. These people, I'm sorry to say, don't care about you. Your elected representatives, Republicans and Democrats, don't care about you. They don't care. They care about themselves. And outrage. And if I see Matt Gaetz on one more podcast, get to work, bro. That guy is annoying with his horse teeth. Bad news in the great reset of the world. Bad news.
In 3 months' time, taking a drag like this will no longer be legal in parts of Amsterdam. From mid-May, it will be illegal to smoke cannabis in the streets of the city's De Wallen area, better known as the Red Light District. The ban comes as the city attempts to crack down on antisocial behaviour by tourists and attempt to improve the quality of life for residents, many of who have long since complained of the disruption caused by visitors. The city have threatened to go even further to crack down on tourist behaviour.
If the nuisance does not decrease sufficiently with the smoking ban, the possibilities of banning smoking on terraces at coffee shops in the area will also be examined.
Almost all councillors supported taking action in a vote on Thursday, where the City Council also announced that restaurants and bars will have to close by 2 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, and sex workers will have to close their venues at 3 a.m. Residents have been campaigning for changes like this one for years, and for one local leader, it's about time. In addition to the new laws, the Amsterdam City Council will launch a Stay Away campaign to target tourists travelling to the capital for drugs, alcohol or sex.
The Bureau of Tourism has started their Stay Away campaign.
What kind of tourism department is this?
Well, here's what's going on. They're not... This is France 24, and they should just say it. It's the Brits. The Brits get on EasyJet Friday afternoon. They're drunk before they get on the plane. They land at Schiphol. They are drinking, puking, pissing in mailboxes. Anything. They are the worst. It's just the Brits. I'm going to call it the way it is. It's the British.
I believe this to be true. I have seen situations where there's a bunch of these, usually the soccer fans. I was in one of those situations.
It's businessmen too.
But I believe it's true. I believe it would be the Brits. They're ones they I don't know.
Taxi Eric won't even drive him to the airport. He's like, they puke in your car. No. They take the train. They're horrible. They're the worst. Sorry, Brits, but it's you. It really is you. But
they're ruining it for everybody.
No, this is part of the greater big reset. The whores have to go. The weed has to go. It all has to go. That you cannot have one country that has all the fun stuff. In the EU, it has to go. They've been working on this for a long time, and it's going to end. It's just going to end.
Well, there you have it.
Now I have a clip for you.
That's our EU report.
Yes, I have a clip for you with a question. How does this psychological operation work? Listen to this.
When Eric Nelson proposed to Brittany Drygas, the hardest material on earth had become a little easier to buy.
Did you always want to seek out a lab-grown diamond?
Frankly, I didn't know what a lab-grown diamond was until a few months before we went shopping for a ring.
Demand for lab-grown diamonds has spiked the past few years, driven primarily by younger buyers, attracted to their affordability, sustainability, and traceability.
I was turned off just by knowing how some mined diamonds are sourced.
So if it wasn't for being a lab-grown diamond, you perhaps would not have gotten a diamond engagement ring.
Yeah, I'd probably just get it banned.
The diamonds can cost up to 50% less.
This is where you grow diamonds.
Yes, this is our state-of-the-art production facility.
Jonathan Levine Miles is an executive at WD Diamonds, a pioneer in the lab-grown diamond industry.
You're saying these are very much real diamonds?
Yes, correct. I can attest to that, having made them myself.
The jewels develop in this top-secret lab just outside D.C. from paper-thin slices of a diamond, blasted with gases and microwaves. And Levine Miles says the results are the same as natural diamonds.
Lab-grown diamonds are chemically, physically, optically the same as mined diamonds.
It's a process that Levine Miles says consumes less energy than mining.
These are actually trapezoids.
Nelson and Drygas are now married and looking forward to a future together.
What does this ring symbolize?
Fake.
It symbolizes us, our relationship, our commitment to one another.
And there's a certain ring to that.
Whoa. So, I was always interested in the marketing of diamonds, because the price is just whatever the marketing is. But now they've successfully convinced people that, and I think the keeper as well to a degree. I don't know if it's, she's like, oh, these look just as pretty. But I mean, really, are they worth even $5? I mean, this to me is like in the same level of fake meat. It's like you pay certain, there's a certain value to a diamond that has been around for a long time. It's hard to get them, to dig them up. Of course, it's all controlled by De Beers. But they've now moved it to just, here's a diamond we made in the lab. And you're like, oh, I'll still pay thousands of dollars for it. What is this?
I don't know. You caught me off guard. I have no idea.
Thank you for your participation.
Maybe it's an op of some sort. Maybe De Beers is behind making them.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But I'm just, my point is people are accepting knockoffs as groovy.
Yeah.
No, okay.
And they're going to probably do some more fancy stuff to them, so they're like multicolored. Something you can't do naturally. Natural diamonds do have. There are black, there are pink, there are
go special.
Canary colored.
Go special.
But let's have something that's got a bunch of different colors in it. How about that for an idea?
Maybe.
So there'll be some really
maybe that's an exit strategy for us. Maybe we can come up with some rock.
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's not in our core competency.
All right.
And our core competency is this, though.
Okay, here it comes. We need to get out of here. So if you got a clip, let's do it.
This is the last clip I'm going to play.
Okay. It's the last clip.
The 119 clip.
Last clip for everybody.
About complaining black woman on TikTok. Black woman's, she's actually a Native American, and she's just irked by the fact that nobody will accept this.
It confuses me because this group of people likes to talk a lot about white supremacy, but the moment that you see another group of people working to restore who they actually are, find who they actually are, putting together bits and pieces that were stolen from us, beaten from us, all of a sudden y'all turn into white supremacists y'all. Y'all want everybody to fucking cry for y'all and feel bad on Thanksgiving's Day, but y'all are white supremacists yourselves the moment a black person says that they are Native American. Like, make it make sense. If we're all in this together, as you guys like to say, and we're all against white supremacy, if black people say, hey, there's a possibility that we might actually too be Native American. Why do y'all meet us with anger, hate, and rage? Why don't y'all have open arms and say, oh, wow, you know what, this might be the case because, you know, there was a lot of different tribes and the whites did come in and they did do this to us and they did this to y'all and let's come together and see where the pieces connect. No, y'all don't do that. What y'all do? Y'all get mad as fuck because there's a possibility that y'all could be related to black people. And that's a problem. Why? Because white people and the Native American community are in bed together.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Just to let you know, there's a moment of insanity every show.
There's always something for us. Man, we're going to have to keep it for Thursday. I got climate change stuff. I got big pharma stuff. I got Africa stuff. We didn't get to any of it because of the damn balloon. Balloons. 4 now and counting. Lovely. This concludes our broadcast day. Of course, we return on Thursday with another episode of your media deconstruction. And let me see. We have, not quite sure. Corey and Todd with EIB versus DMV. Oh, Agenda 31. Oh, that's what it is. We know Agenda 31, guys. Stay with it here at trollroom.io. Coming to you from the heart of the Texas Hill Country in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I remain, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Thursday right here with your No Agenda show. Please remember us at dvorak.org/NA. Enjoy the rest of your weekend or your week, which is just starting. And as such, and the hooey. What?
Go Chiefs.
Oh, no, 38-17. Go Eagles. Adios, mofos.
The mandate is over, okay? Is that good enough for you, New York City? First, I dropped the mandate for celebrities. Remember that? Y'all was bugging. Then, just in November, I dropped it for the rest of y'all. Except for my slaves. I mean city workers. But now I don't even need no mandate. Cause most of y'all listened to your mayor and took your Jimmy Jab. The rest of y'all still fired. If you want to reapply for your old job back, you could try. Anyway, we just getting started. If y'all thought the vax mandates was bad, just you wait for Agenda 2030. You will own nothing and I will be happy.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
Serene in the assurance of their dominion over this small, spinning fragment of solar driftwood.
However, there have been a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. It is this group of observations that we now are attempting to resolve.
Interesting. This is kind of unusual that these pilots saw different things, and that is sort of, I guess, adding to the mystery of all this.
They are going to be tracking the object. They can't even say exactly what it is. They're going to track the object until it gets light again.
Or a simulated alien invasion using alien replica vehicles that exist and are already in use.
They will give me more information in the morning.
Your dreams.
It's Sunday, right?
Floating with your dreams.
It's Sunday, dumbass.
Floating with
on Sunday. Every Sunday after church at church.
Oh,
Sunday. It's Sunday, remember?
Roll up the highway, we're heading for a Sunday afternoon.
A Sunday afternoon is perfect.
Roll up the highway, we're heading for a Sunday afternoon.
Guess what all of us are doing Sunday afternoon?
Roll up the highway.
For Sunday?
Sunday.
Roll up the highway.
Super blunt Sunday.
Roll up the highway.
Hey, John, happy Sunday.
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday.
Sunday afternoon. afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon.
Every Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon. We'll see you Sunday. For a Sunday afternoon.
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 On Sunday, it's always Jay.
You can listen live on Thursdays.
What about Sunday?
Thursdays and Sundays.
Sunday afternoon.
I love Sunday afternoon.
I love Sunday fun.
What time?
It's exactly the same as last Sunday.
The best podcast in the universe.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Now, who the hell do you think that you are?